Chapter 606. Brat, I'll let you know that even the peak of the spirit-detecting realm has a huge gap. You will regret today's decision. The black-robed elder's voice was cold and filled with endless killing intent. There's no point in talking. Show me what you have. Lin Xian wasn't afraid. Since you're looking for death, I'll fulfill your wish. The black-robed elder sneered and pointed his finger. Streaks of abnormally ferocious deep blue finger lights, like vicious poisonous snakes, quickly streaked through the air with an endless amount of berserk power. Xiao. In an instant, several streaks of light appeared in the sky. They were like rainbows in the sky, causing people to tremble. As expected of a veteran expert. Such terrifying power. The crowd below exclaimed. The dark blue light made them tremble. Even the peak spirit-detecting realm martial artists were shocked. Lin Xian stood in the air. The dark blue light in front of him made him feel a huge wave of pressure. It was as if a crazy wave was roaring. Lin Xian clenched his right hand into a fist. He circulated his spirit energy and quickly punched out. A dazzling golden light flashed like the sun. It was accompanied by the sound of thunder as it blasted forward. Boom, boom, boom. The golden fist and the dark blue finger energy collided in the air. Two ferocious waves of energy exploded. This little bastard is indeed terrifying. The black-robed elder's face sank. His finger seemed casual, but it contained 80% of his power. A normal peak spirit-detecting realm martial artist would die upon contact. However, Lin Xian blocked it. Even from far away, he could still feel the berserk power of the golden lightning. Humph, the show has just begun. The black-robed elder snorted and his spirit energy surged again. The surrounding spirit energy trembled and formed a vortex that poured into the finger energy. The dark blue finger energy flashed and seemed to have turned into an unfathomable ocean. It surged in the air and released a vast amount of energy. Boundless ocean. The black-robed elder circulated his spirit energy with all his might and roared. Boom. The dark blue ocean exploded and huge waves crashed against the shore. It was as if it could devour the world. Waves of energy surged toward Lin Xian at high speed. Thunder roar. Lin Xian's expression was cold. His entire body was bathed in lightning, as if he was the god of thunder. At this moment, the throbbing lightning all rushed towards the waves. The other party was a water-attributed martial artist, and who could transmit electricity. Therefore, the power of his thunder and lightning could be completely transmitted through the other party's attack, thus injuring the other party's body. Lin Xian did the same. Streaks of golden lightning transformed into lightning dragons that swam through the huge waves and charged towards the black-robed old man. The black-robed elder revealed a sinister smile. He flicked his storage ring and a wood-type armor appeared, quickly covering his entire body. The armor's grade wasn't high. It was only a mid-grade spirit rank armor, but it was the nemesis of lightning. Sure enough, the golden lightning dragon roared and bombarded the wood-type armor, but it didn't cause much damage. Ha. Brat, let's see what you're going to do. The black-robed elder laughed. He had lived for hundreds of years and was very experienced. Even before the competition, he had already thought of a way to restrain Lin Xian. Now, it was only the first step. He wanted to make Lin Xian despair and make him suffer a fate worse than death. The black-robed elder sneered. Wearing the wood-type armor, he rushed towards Lin Xian with the power of the waves. The crowd below was in an uproar. Not good. Lin Xian is actually being restrained. As expected of a veteran powerhouse, he's really powerful. Is Lin Xian finished? Not necessarily. He still has the concept of wind. The crowd discussed and watched nervously. Wood-type armor? Lin Xian looked at the black-robed elder rushing towards him and raised his eyebrows. It seemed that the other party had really put in a lot of effort to defeat him. However, he didn't only have the power of thunder and lightning. Furious wind. A crystal-clear ball of wind surged on his body and spun rapidly, forming a hurricane in the blink of an eye. The power of wind surged, and Lin Xian became extremely agile at this moment. A cool breeze blew, and Lin Xian disappeared in the air. Where is he? The crowd below was shocked. They quickly searched but couldn't find him. The black-robed elder's face darkened. His opponent's speed made him wary. He clasped his palms together and activated the power of water. Huge waves roared around him, forming a tight defense. At the same time, water ripples spread out, forming a carpet attack that quickly spread throughout the entire space. Attacking and defending at the same time, the black-robed elder's methods were strict and decisive. Whoosh! Lin Xian's figure appeared, not far from the black-robed elder. The black-robed elder was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be so fast that he almost reached him. However, fortunately, his reaction was fast enough to make Lin Xian reveal himself. "Die, brat!" The black-robed elder sneered, and endless waves roared. Wind slash! Lin Xian's aura suddenly became fierce. The balls of wind rotated, forming sharp wind blades that swept in all directions. Suddenly, the sky was filled with a murderous aura, and the surrounding air was condensed. Puff, puff, puff. The wind blades that were dozens of feet long slashed horizontally, splitting the incoming waves. However, the sea was formless, and it could be hard or soft. The waves that were split quickly gathered together and rushed towards Lin Xian again. Wind move. Lin Xian's voice was calm, and his moves changed again. The wind blades disappeared, and the sky was filled with wild winds, whistling through the void. An endless gust of wind blew, blowing the waves away. Lin Xian formed a storm zone around him, and no attack could reach him. The black-robed elder's face was gloomy. The opponent's wind power was indeed difficult to break, but he was not without a way. His storage ring shone, and a green feather appeared in his hand. Since he couldn't break it, he would fight it. Wind against wind. The appearance of the green feather caused the void to tremble. Even Lin Xian's wild winds were affected. Divine Bird Palace? Lin Xian frowned, and a murderous intent appeared in his eyes. He had fought with the Divine Bird Palace several times, so he was very clear about their aura. The feather in the black-robed elder's hand should be from the Divine Bird Palace. He just didn't know what the relationship between the Wang family and the Divine Bird Palace was. "Kid, don't think that you're the only one who knows the power of wind." The black-robed elder snorted. "I'll let you know that there's always someone better than you. Today is the day you die." Then he waved the feather in his hand, stirring up the wind and clouds. Wild winds blew, and another storm was formed, filling the sky. The green feather was very magical, and it contained a strange power of wind. Coupled with the black-robed elder's full power, it formed a terrifying scene. Kill. Resisting Lin Xian's power of wind, the black-robed old man roared angrily and charged forward. At the same time, a long saber appeared in his hand again, shining with a cold light. An upper-grade spiritual treasure. The black-robed elder was determined to kill this time, so he used an upper-grade spiritual treasure. A bright light lit up, appearing in the void like a divine light, tearing the sky apart. Then, it quickly slashed towards Lin Xian. Chapter 607. The black-robed old man used his upper-grade spiritual class artifact and quickly slashed at Lin Xian. The dazzling blade light was almost 100 feet long as it whizzed down. Under that enormous saber light, Lin Xian seemed incomparably tiny. The crowd below also exclaimed. This blade light was too stunning, and it was supported by an upper-grade spiritual artifact. It was absolutely powerful. Oomph! Despicable brat! Go to hell! The black-robed old man looked up and laughed. He had used all his strength in this attack, and with the help of an upper-grade artifact, it was definitely enough to kill the little thief. Wind and thunder fusion. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered as he stood in the void. Two types of intent realm rotated around him, and a terrifying aura spread out. Soon, the power of wind and thunder fused, forming the power of wind and thunder. A violent and abnormal aura gushed out from Lin Xian's body like a thunderstorm, causing people's hearts to tremble. Not far away, the black-robed old man's body trembled as he sucked in a breath of cold air. He felt a shocking force pressing down on him. This force was too powerful, and it vaguely surpassed his strength. Even the 100-feet-long blade light he sent out was greatly obstructed. Wind and thunder cut. Lin Xian roared as he waved his arm. The power of wind and thunder intertwined, forming a huge blade light that quickly slashed down. Swoosh, swoosh. A beam of greenish-golden light shot out from Lin Xian's arm and landed with a loud crash. Along with it, endless gales and violent lightning instantly enveloped the entire arena. In an instant, the black-robed old man felt the terror of the power of wind and thunder. He felt the surrounding air condense, forming a huge resistance. Not only that, but the wood elemental armor on his body also cracked, as if it would break at any time. This is impossible. The black-robed old man was horrified as he struggled with all his might. He did not believe that Lin Xian had such powerful strength. In fact, if it was an ordinary fusion of wind and thunder, it might not be so powerful. However, Lin Xian was different. He had not only fused the power of wind and thunder, but also two types of intent realm. In other words, the light blade contained the concepts of wind and lightning. This was too terrifying. It was absolutely not something that the black-robed old man could withstand. The huge wind and thunder light blade fell down. Wherever it passed, the green air current would move and thunder and lightning would intertwine. The wind and thunder combined to form a terrifying aura. Not only the black-robed old man, there was probably no one present who could withstand this attack. Damn it! The black-robed old man was alarmed, because the wood element armor on his body had already cracked, and the power of wind and thunder had drilled into his body, causing his entire body to go numb. Even the circulation of the spiritual energy in his body had slowed down and even showed signs of stopping. If it was any other time, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, they were in the middle of a battle right now. The slightest mistake could lead to a huge change in the situation. Lin Xian was also a seasoned veteran. Naturally, he would not let go of such an opportunity. With a wave of his hand, a huge wind-lightning palm shot out. It was like a huge mountain moving in the air. The black-robed old man's face was ferocious. He roared and circulated the spiritual energy in his body with all his might, wanting to escape. In the end, he even cruelly burned his spiritual energy, erupting with a temporary burst of hidden power and finally breaking free from the control of the wind and thunder. The wind-lightning palm fell, shattering most of the stage. A terrifying hole appeared in the ground, so deep that the bottom could not be seen. Even the surrounding defensive light barrier was on the verge of collapse, as if it could not withstand it. This palm was too terrifying. If a peak spirit-detecting martial artist was hit by it, their body and soul would definitely be destroyed. The black-robed old man fled, his body covered in cold sweat. Fortunately, he did not care about the cost at the last moment and burned his spiritual energy to escape. Then, he looked at Lin Xian, his eyes filled with dread. Although the youth in front of him was young, his strength was not weaker than his. Even his battle experience was very rich. This kind of person could be called a battle genius. He sighed. If only his Wang family had such a genius. However, now was not the time to sigh. He would not let Lin Xian win. He took out a blood-colored pill the size of a longan fruit from his storage ring and quickly swallowed it. Kid, I admit that you are very strong, but let's end this. The black-robed old man's voice trembled, and there was even a trace of pain. Finally, he roared into the sky. His black robe suddenly split open, and a layer of blood-red light covered his body. What followed was a shocking aura. Demon blood pill. I didn't think that the elder would be forced to this step. The Wang family disciples were shocked. They knew that this was the black-robed old man's final trump card. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not use it. Although this secret technique was powerful, it also caused great damage to the body. Once the effect of the pill wore off, the martial artist's combat strength would be halved for the next 3 months, and they would suffer great pain. If it was not handled well, it would leave behind hidden injuries that would affect the martial artist's future. Under normal circumstances, the black-robed old man would not use it. However, he had used it today, which meant that he was forced into a desperate situation. After consuming the demon blood pill, the black-robed old man's body began to change. His originally skinny body was rapidly growing. Layers of fine scales even appeared on his skin, making him look ferocious and terrifying. I know, this is a demon blood pill, and it's the blood of an armored berserk ape. A martial artist exclaimed. The sky martial region was prosperous, and martial artists pursued strength. They developed a type of pill that fused the blood of a demon beast into the pill. After a martial artist consumed it, there would be a temporary surge in combat strength. The pill in the black-robed old man's hand was a demon blood pill, and it was the blood of an armored berserk ape. The armored berserk ape was an extremely powerful demon beast, and its strength was even stronger than a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm. Furthermore, this demon beast's defense was extremely strong, and it could be said to be the king of close combat. At this moment, after the black-robed old man consumed the demon blood pill, his entire body became abnormally ferocious. His body was filled with a terrifying power, and there was also a dense demonic aura. On his body, there was a layer of cold scales that flickered with a cold light, like cold steel. Whoosh! The black-robed old man took a step forward and instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Lin Xian. Boom! The demonic palm waved and grabbed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted and used the golden lightning body, and at the same time, he used the wind lightning palm. Boom! Boom! Lin Xian and the black-robed old man's palms collided, and a surge of power crashed into each other. The two of them both took a step back, and a terrifying black hole appeared between them. It was a shocking sight. An abnormally powerful force tore apart the power of wind and lightning and attacked Lin Xian's arm. Lin Xian's body once again surged with the power of wind and lightning, and only then did he neutralize it. What a powerful force, to be able to break through the power of wind and lightning. Lin Xian was moved. It seemed that the power of the demon blood pill was above his expectations. However, in the next moment, his face turned ugly. This was because his golden lightning body had been broken. Chapter 608. The power of the demon blood pill exceeded Lin Xian's expectations. After the black-robed elder consumed it, he was able to tear apart Lin Xian's golden lightning body. One had to know that the golden lightning body was extremely powerful. Up until now, only Xin Yaotian had managed to break it. Now, it was broken once again. However, this situation caused the Wang family disciples to exclaim in surprise. Many of them cried out in excitement. Previously, they had been suppressed by Lin Xian for too long. Now, they could finally hold their heads high. Although it was an injury caused by an elder who consumed a pill, at least they had done it. The other warriors were also shocked. This was the first time someone had broken through Lin Xian's defense. This meant that the black-robed elder was likely to injure Lin Xian in the next few days. As expected of an elder, he's indeed sharp. The demon blood pill is so powerful. It can actually raise one's combat strength by so much. Everyone exclaimed. Lin Xian frowned. From the previous attack, the black-robed elder's attack had at least doubled. It seemed like he had to be serious and stop playing around. Ha ha ha, kid, prepare to die. The black-robed elder laughed sinisterly. He was like a monster. His body was terrifying, and his appearance was terrifying. When he laughed, it was even more terrifying. His originally withered arm became huge. His palm was covered with scales, and there were long nails that shone with a cold light like daggers. Although you're neither human nor ghost, I have to admit that you've become stronger. You're worthy of me taking you seriously, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. What? Take him seriously? Everyone was stunned. They did not understand what Lin Xian meant. Could it be that he was just playing around? Everyone could not believe it. Of course, more people thought that Lin Xian was bragging, especially the disciples of the Wang clan, who booed him. Humph, kid. You're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. The black-robed elder snorted. No matter what you say, it won't change your fate. Streaks of blood-red light appeared on his claws. Its power was terrifying. You'll find out soon enough whether or not I'm being stubborn. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He slid his hand to his storage belt, and a black scabbard appeared. Sword! Everyone exclaimed, and the black-robed old man frowned. Brat, don't think that you can scare me with that sword. To tell you the truth, in my current state, even if you use a high-grade spirit-ranked artifact, you won't be able to break through my defense. The black-robed old man sneered, his expression filled with disdain. However, Lin Xian didn't have any reaction. He held the wind shadow sword and his entire body changed. At this moment, he became abnormally fierce, like a divine sword that had been unsheathed, unstoppable. With the sword in hand, Lin Xian's aura rose to the peak. He was like a mountain that stood above the 9 heavens. The black-robed elder's expression finally changed. This aura was enough to threaten him. Die! The black-robed elder suddenly attacked. He wouldn't let Lin Xian's aura continue to grow. Streaks of blood-red murderous aura jumped and rotated in front of him, forming a huge beast claw. Puff, puff, puff. Under the activation of the secret technique, the beast claw's power increased greatly. It was ferocious and terrifying, as if it was real. It quickly grabbed at Lin Xian. The black-robed elder exerted his strength to the extreme in this attack. Whoosh! Lin Xian activated his sword intent. The wind shadow sword turned illusory in front of him and slashed forward. A streak of sword light lit up like an aurora in the sky. It was extremely dazzling. In the end, the entire sky lost its color, and only the sword light was left under the sky. No, the black-robed elder was enveloped by the sword light, and fear appeared in his eyes. At this moment, he roared unwillingly as if he had encountered something terrifying and wanted to escape. However, his voice soon stopped, and so did his demonic beast body. In the void, the black-robed elder's body trembled slightly. His face was still filled with fear, but blood was flowing out from between his eyebrows. In the end, his entire body split in half. Puff! Blood splattered everywhere and exploded in the air. No, impossible! Elder, the group was stunned, and the Wang family disciples were even more terrified. The black-robed elder, who had been so majestic just a moment ago, was now split into 2 halves. He couldn't be more dead. The contrast between before and after was simply too great. Everyone was in disbelief. Indeed, the demonic beast black-robed elder was very powerful. He even suppressed Lin Xian for a while. However, everything changed when Lin Xian took out his sword. One move. With just one move, he killed the powerful black-robed elder. This kind of strength could no longer be described by the word terrifying. At this moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian with fear in their eyes. Even Ma Rulong and the others were shocked. That sword strike just now made him feel a sense of apprehension. Putting away the wind shadow sword, Lin Xian looked at the Wang family disciples. The outcome has been decided. From now on, this arena belongs to me. Lin Xian's voice echoed in the void. His voice was filled with dominance. The Wang family disciples were in despair. They shouted, "Elder, supremacy, elder." However, no one responded to them. In fact, even if the supremacy came out, it would be useless because someone would definitely jump out to stop him. The Wang family supremacy probably knew that too, so he did not come out. However, he still spoke up in the end. After all, losing the arena was such a big deal that ordinary disciples could not make the decision. Good, very good. The Wang family supremacy said coldly, "Kid, this won't end just like that. The Wang family will accompany you to the end. Now, everyone, leave this place and return to the family," the supremacy said. Immediately, all the Wang family disciples left with gloomy expressions. They were like stray dogs. Lin Xian was not afraid of the supremacy's threat at all. Now that his cultivation had broken through and he had obtained the red lotus armor, his strength had increased greatly. In the past, he could escape from the supremacy, let alone now. Therefore, Lin Xian calmly took over the Wang family's martial arts arena. Everyone was shocked. The change of ownership of the Wang family's martial arts arena was definitely a big deal in Quicksand City. They believed that it would not be long before Lin Xian became famous in Quicksand City. "Brother Lin, congratulations." Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong congratulated. "Thank you." Lin Xian smiled. "I wonder if the two of you are interested in running this martial arts arena together?" Hearing this, Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong were stunned. Then, they were pleasantly surprised. "Brother Lin, is what you said true?" "Of course. In fact, I'm not familiar with the martial arts arena. My main goal was to destroy the Wang family's martial arts arena, and I've already done that." "Indeed, Lin Xian was not good at running a business, and it was impossible for him to stay in Quicksand City for a long time. It was better to partner with Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong. This way, not only could he ensure the martial arts arena's normal operation, but he could also get two powerful assistants. It was killing two birds with one stone. Moreover, the martial arts arena's income was not small. In the future, he might even be able to contribute to the search for materials for the Red Lotus armor. Lin Xian was thinking very far ahead. At the very least, he had to make the Red Lotus armor, no matter how difficult it was. Chapter 609. Lin Xian invited the Nan Gongseng duo to join him, and they quickly agreed. Therefore, the handover procedures were all handed over to Nan Gongseng. He was familiar with these things anyway, and he liked doing it. Nan Gongseng was too excited. Although he was a disciple of the Nangong family, it was impossible for him to own an arena. With his current situation, it would be good enough if he could become an elder of an arena in a few decades. Now, however, he had the opportunity to own his own arena. Although he was partnered with Lin Xian, he was still the owner. This was something he would never have dared to imagine in the past. The Wang family's arena was not bad. It was a medium-sized arena and had a certain reputation in Quicksand City. With his talent, if it was developed well, it was very likely that the arena would improve. By then, his status would rise again. Perhaps only the top geniuses in the family could compete with him in the future. As for the venerable ones, Ma Rulong would take care of it. The Ma family's venerable ones from before was his great-grandfather, so he could totally invite them. The three of them discussed and felt that there was not much of a problem. Then let's call it the Divine Dragon Pavilion Arena. What do you think? Lin Xian asked. All right. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong agreed. I must make the Divine Dragon Pavilion Arena #1 in Quicksand City. Nan Gongseng was full of ambition. The news of the Wang family's arena changing owners was like a gust of wind, quickly sweeping through the entire Quicksand City. Instantly, everyone was shocked. They did not expect the dignified Wang family's arena to fall in the hands of a young man. This was too unbelievable. Of course, while everyone was shocked, there were also people who were furious. In Blackwood Fort, Blackwood Mountain's face was ashen. He originally wanted to send people to help the Wang family suppress Lin Xian, but he did not expect that before he could do anything, the other party had already taken over the Wang family's arena. Trash. The Wang family is really trash. Blackwood Mountain roared angrily. Damn thief. I won't let you accept it so easily. Blackwood Mountain's face was ferocious. He decided to use some means to destroy the arena that Lin Xian took over. However, the following news made him tremble in anger, and he stood rooted to the ground. This was because he received news that the Wang family's arena had officially changed its name to the Divine Dragon Pavilion Arena. At the same time, Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong had joined, and the three of them would be in charge of the arena. At the same time, the venerable ones would appear. At the same time, there was also news that there would be venerables overseeing them. Every piece of news was like a heavy bomb that knocked Blackwood Mountain unconscious. It wasn't just him, but many other influences of Quicksand City were shocked. They hadn't thought that these three youths would be so quick to complete the mission in such a short time. Half a month was half. Under the management of Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong, the Divine Dragon Pavilion's martial arts arena was developing rapidly. On the other hand, Lin Xian, the major shareholder, was hiding in a quiet courtyard to cultivate. To him, the Colosseum was just an accessory. What he truly cared about was the path of martial arts. The power of an ultimate powerhouse was what he was after. After half a month of silence, Quicksand City was bustling again. The city lord was celebrating his 300th birthday. Quicksand City belonged to the Sand Country. Although the aristocratic families in the city were powerful, they were still ruled by the city lord in name. Therefore, all the forces in the city returned for the city lord's birthday. The Divine Dragon Pavilion Arena had also received an invitation to the birthday banquet. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong came to Lin Xian's courtyard to discuss countermeasures. In the past, they would attend such important events as disciples. However, it was different this time. They would be attending as the arena's managers. It could be said that their identities had changed greatly. What do we need to pay attention to? Lin Xian asked. Martial arts battles are prevalent in Quicksand City. Therefore, we might be challenged at the birthday banquet. After all, the Divine Dragon Pavilion Arena has just been established. Someone will definitely step in. This was what Nan Gongseng was most worried about. The birthday banquet was of a high standard. All the major forces in the city had returned. The genius warriors of each family would also attend. Those disciples were very powerful. The Wang family could not be compared to them. Many of them were stronger than the Wang family's black-robed old man. They were exceptionally powerful. Therefore, they had to be careful. If there is a challenge, I'll leave it to you. Anyway, I can't help. Nan Gongseng sighed. Don't worry. I'll take on all of them. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Even if it's the Sand Region's prodigies, I'll help you stop them. His cultivation had improved a lot over the past few days. Therefore, he was very confident. Hee, there's no need for the prodigies. I don't think those perverts will go. However, you must stop the others. Nan Gongseng said, I want everyone to know how powerful the Divine Dragon Pavilion Arena is. The City Lord's birthday banquet was set for 10 days later. During this period, everyone had been preparing gifts. This had stumped Nan Gongseng. He had picked many gifts, but he was not satisfied. They were either too expensive and they could not afford it. Otherwise, they were too poor and they could not afford it. In the end, he had no choice but to ask Lin Xian for help. According to him, it would be great if he could find a precious spiritual grass. Lin Xian rolled his eyes at him. Do you think 1,000-year-old spiritual herb is a cabbage? Although he still had it in his storage belt, he would not take it out. Nan Gongseng was a little disappointed. At that moment, the snow-white monkey suddenly jumped out. It was holding a peach of immortality and eating it non-stop. The peach of immortality was very strange. It was wrapped in a ball of spiritual energy. The moment it was taken out, the entire air was filled with spirituality. Nan Gongseng's eyes were wide open. He had never seen such a strange spiritual fruit. It seemed that it was a peerless treasure. Even supremacies would be jealous if they saw it. However, it was being eaten by a monkey so casually. For a moment, Nan Gongseng was stunned. The snow-white monkey's big eyes narrowed into crescents. It quickly finished eating, threw the peach pit on the ground, and burped. Damn you, little brat. That's 1,000-year-old peach of immortality. Its pit is also a rare treasure. How dare you throw it away? A dark red snake suddenly slithered out and roared with an exasperated expression. If you don't want it, you can give it to Ben Huang. Nan Gongseng's eyes widened. What did he just see? A talking snake? Slap. He slapped himself twice and realized that he was not dreaming. The Crimson Dragon looked at him strangely and howled. Is this kid stupid? How dare he slap himself? Ha 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 ha. This voice woke Nan Gongseng up. He suddenly remembered the Ruzalong's words. Then, he quickly looked to the ground. If that was really 1,000-year-old peach of immortality, its pit must be a treasure. Soon, he saw the pit on the ground. Chapter 6:10. Nan Gongseng's body trembled. The peach pit on the ground was the pit of 1,000-year-old Saturn peach? His first reaction was disbelief. However, when he recalled the light emitted by the peach, it was definitely not an ordinary spiritual fruit. It might really be 1,000-year-old Saturn peach. Nan Gongseng rushed toward the peach pit. What are you doing, you bastard? How dare you snatch something from Ben Huang? I'll bite you to death. The Crimson Dragon was anxious. It did not expect someone to snatch the pit of a peach from it. With a sway of its body, it turned into a red beam of light and quickly charged forward. However, Nan Gongseng was not slow either. In addition, he was close to the pit, so he quickly snatched it. Bastard, quickly put down the peach pit, and Ben Huang will spare your life. Nan Gongseng did not care. He grabbed the pit tightly and felt the strong spiritual energy coming from it. He was ecstatic. 1,000-year-old Saturn peach, it really is 1,000-year-old Saturn peach. Haha, I'm rich this time. This is definitely the best birthday gift. Nan Gongseng was wild with joy and danced around. Damn it, Ben Huang is talking to you. The Crimson Dragon was furious. A snake that can talk? It is indeed a rare treasure. If it is used as a birthday gift, it might be even more shocking. Nan Gongseng looked at the crimson dragon with shining eyes. Damn it, come here, kid. Ben Huang promises not to beat you to death. The crimson dragon was so angry that it stomped its feet. Lin Xian facepalmed and was speechless. Okay, Brother Lin, the gift is ready. How are we going to go? You guys go first. I might need to cultivate for a while. Don't worry, I won't delay things. Lin Xian smiled. Okay, cultivation fanatic. Nan Gongseng shrugged helplessly and left. After that, Lin Xian went into seclusion to cultivate again. Time flew, and the day of the city lord's birthday banquet arrived. The entire Quicksand City was bustling with noise and excitement. On this day, the city lord's mansion was decorated with lanterns and banners. The wide road was crowded with people coming and going, and there was an endless stream of people in front of the city lord's mansion. Lin Xian also ended his cultivation early and brought the dragon and monkey to the city lord's mansion. However, just as he walked out of the mansion, a cold and gloomy light quickly attacked him from behind like a poisonous snake. This light was very fast as lightning, and it carried a terrifying force. Lin Xian was shocked. His body swayed, and he quickly moved away. The cold light brushed past his body, and the cold aura it emitted made his hair stand on end. This attack was soundless and extremely insidious. If it wasn't for his powerful soul, anyone else would have already lost their lives. Someone had actually set up an ambush in front of his house, wanting to take his life. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's heart burned with anger. He abruptly turned around and reached out with his soul to search the surroundings. You are indeed worthy of being called a genius warrior. You were actually able to dodge my attack. Interesting. A slightly mocking voice was heard. Immediately after, a figure appeared in Lin Xian's field of vision. Not far away, a middle-aged man stood with a gloomy expression. At this moment, he was playing with a crescent-shaped flying knife in his hand. This middle-aged man stood in the middle of the road, blocking Lin Xian's path. You finally came out. I've been waiting for you for a long time. The middle-aged man's expression was cold, and his voice was slightly hoarse. Waiting for me? Lin Xian frowned. What's the matter? Naturally, it's to kill you. Kill me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability. I know you are very strong, but people stronger than you have died at my hands, so I'm confident. The middle-aged man was very confident. Lin Xian frowned. With his warrior's instincts, he could feel a sinister aura coming from the middle-aged man in front of him. This aura was abnormally terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the black-robed old man who had consumed the demon blood pill. The other party must be an extremely terrifying figure. I don't have time to waste with you. Scram or die. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He really didn't have time now because he had to attend the city lord's birthday banquet. Ha 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 ha, you are indeed as arrogant as the rumors say. The middle-aged man laughed. I know where you want to go, but don't even think about it. You won't be going anywhere today. With that, the middle-aged man stomped on the ground. The ground under his feet quickly trembled like a wave that spread out in all directions. In the next moment, the surroundings changed drastically. A dark and gloomy forest appeared, replacing the houses and streets from before. This is an illusion array? Lin Xian frowned. His expression was filled with caution. The middle-aged man in front of him was too strange. He had to be careful. Illusion array? The middle-aged man sneered. You can think of it that way, but I prefer to call it the assassination forest. Before he finished speaking, the middle-aged man's figure had already disappeared, completely blending into the dark forest. Whoosh! A dark and gloomy light flew out from the forest and shot towards Lin Xian's back. This attack was soundless, and even the light had disappeared. Lin Xian only sensed it when the flying knife approached. His expression was gloomy as he quickly dodged. Who sent you? He always had a bad feeling. This middle-aged man's strength was beyond imagination, and his methods were very strange. It belonged to the Tao of assassination. Ha 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 ha, are you afraid? A fleeting voice came from all around. The moment you die, I will tell you. Afraid? Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. I still don't know what fear is. Subsequently, Lin Xian used the concept of wind. A ball of sparkling and translucent wind appeared and revolved around him. Although he still didn't understand the situation around him, with the concept of wind, he could probably block the attack of the hidden weapon. The concept of wind is indeed a good method. However, it's useless. With this voice, the surroundings became silent again. Lin Xian looked around cautiously. Suddenly, his body swayed and shot into the air. The ground where he was originally standing cracked open, and a cold light shot out, shattering the void. That was close. Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. Not bad, it's really fun. The middle-aged man's figure appeared again. He was like a cloud, floating on the leaves. Kid, this shouldn't be an illusion array, but a very strange space. Be careful. The Crimson Dragon warned. It's not an illusion array. Lin Xian was vigilant. He then nodded and summoned the Snow-White Monkey. Although this middle-aged man's attacks were strange, the frequency of his attacks was not dense. It could be that the opponent wanted to toy with him. There was another possibility, and that was to stall for time. After all, today was the city lord's birthday banquet, and he was also invited. If he was late, he was afraid that the city lord would be unhappy. At that time, the other hostile forces would add fuel to the fire, and it was very likely that they would destroy the arena that he had just won. Perhaps this was the real goal of those people. Chapter 6:11. Lin Xian was bitterly disappointed by their sinister intentions. Since that was the case, he could only use the long sword in his hand to break open the cage. With a snort, Lin Xian released a ray of sword chi towards the surrounding dark forest. Puff puff, the dazzling sword chi fell into the forest, creating a layer of ripples before disappearing. Don't waste your energy. You can't break open this assassination forest. The middle-aged man laughed disdainfully. Surrender, and I'll give you a quick death. The middle-aged man stood at the top of a tree and looked down at Lin Xian. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and sent a voice transmission to the little white monkey. Whoosh! The little white monkey disappeared in a flash of white light and appeared in front of the middle-aged man. You sent a monkey? What a joke. I think you're crazy. The middle-aged man stretched out his large hands and tried to grab the little white monkey. However, he only caught a white shadow. So fast. The middle-aged man was shocked. The little white monkey's speed was beyond his imagination. However, this made him even more interested. Bang! However, before he could react, the snow-white little monkey's furry little claws slapped his face, instantly stunning him. The middle-aged man felt dizzy for a moment. This is my chance. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He used all his speed and rushed upwards. At the same time, he unsheathed the wind shadow sword and released a terrifying sword essence. Whoosh! A ray of sword light shot out diagonally and pierced into the middle-aged man's body. Ah! The middle-aged man screamed in pain. At the same time, he recovered from his dizzy state. Bang! Enduring the pain, the middle-aged man's body sank and quickly descended. He disappeared in the air. Only a string of blood was left floating in the air. Ha ha ha, the little guy got it again. What a surprise. The Crimson Dragon flew out with a mocking look. Kid, you dare to hurt me? You're asking for it. The middle-aged man's voice was filled with killing intent. So what if I hurt you? I still want to kill you. Lin Xian coldly snorted. Those who block me, die. I was careless this time. You have no chance. The middle-aged man said in a deep voice. Stay in this assassination forest forever. The middle-aged man disappeared completely, and then the surrounding black trees began to dance. Like a demon, it danced wildly. Every branch was filled with oppressive pressure. They moved through the air and stabbed toward Lin Xian. A series of ear-piercing sounds pierced through the air, like a demonic sound, causing people to tremble. Motherlong dodge. The Crimson Dragon screamed and flew away quickly. Lin Xian also used his movement technique, turning into countless afterimages as he dodged with extreme speed. On the other hand, the snow-white little monkey had a face full of joy, as if it was very excited. One man and two beasts shuttled through the forest, and the sound of air being torn apart could be heard. 10,000 trees descend. The middle-aged man's venomous voice rang out. Immediately, the entire forest seemed to have come alive as a group of demons danced wildly. Huge tree trunks intertwined, forming a fierce attack that fell downward. A gloomy and terrifying aura shrouded the surroundings. Countless vines danced below like divine whips, tearing through the void. Some of the vines bloomed blood-red flowers, like the mouths of demonic beasts. They were ferocious and terrifying as they swallowed the surroundings. Lin Xian was shocked. The scene was too terrifying. It was as if he had arrived at a gathering place of demons. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the void, all kinds of vines and branches danced. Lin Xian's speed was extremely fast, but the space he could move in was getting smaller and smaller. I can't dodge anymore. A fierce look appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. He had to make a move. The wind shadow sword in his hand drew a trajectory in front of him. Sword chi danced, turning into rays of divine light that slashed in all directions. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The surrounding branches and vines broke, but more vines lashed out. Bang! Lin Xian was caught off guard and was hit by a vine. Fortunately, he used the golden thunder body in time to block the attack. However, the violent force still caused his body to move horizontally. Brat, I'll make you lose your life in pain. The middle-aged man's voice sounded again. The vines became even crazier. In an instant, they had wrapped around Lin Xian and the others. Break! The blazing sword light circled around Lin Xian. The vast power was like a long river that swept through the heavens and earth. A ball of sword light formed and enveloped Lin Xian, saving him from danger. The snow-white monkey's body was like lightning. Its speed was even faster than Lin Xian's. Those attacks could not even touch it. However, the Crimson Dragon was unlucky. He had lost most of his power and was pitifully weak. He did not have Lin Xian's powerful attacks, nor did he have the speed of the snow-white monkey. In the end, he was entangled by a group of vines. Ah, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. The vines climbed onto the Crimson Dragon's body and quickly wrapped around it, forming a strangling force. The force was very shocking. Ordinary martial artists at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm would not be able to withstand it. However, the Crimson Dragon only crazily cried out. Its body was not injured at all. Humph! Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man's face became terrifyingly gloomy. One man and two beasts. He had caught one with great difficulty, but he did not expect that he could not hurt them at all. This made him feel like he was going crazy. One had to know that he was an existence that had killed countless martial artists at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm. This forest of assassins was even more terrifying. It was enough to kill any martial artist below the spirit-detecting realm. However, today, it seemed to have lost its effect. Damn it! The middle-aged man was furious. He swore that he would definitely kill Lin Xian and the others. Ruffian, can you still do it? Lin Xian asked. Damn it! Ben Huang is angry. The Crimson Dragon was furious. If Ben Huang doesn't show his power, you really think I'm a little snake? I'll bite, bite, bite. The Crimson Dragon's head turned and bit at the vines. Although it did not look good, the effect was indeed very good. This was very normal. Although the Crimson Dragon's attack power was not strong, it was still a peerless existence. Its life force had already reached an extremely high level. Not to mention these vines, even a spirit-detecting realm expert might not be able to hurt its body. Seeing the Crimson Dragon break free, Lin Xian roared and swung his long sword in all directions. Just as Lin Xian was fighting fiercely, the city lord's mansion was bustling with noise and excitement. Beautiful women were dancing and singing. It was very lively, accompanied by beauties and experts. At this moment, most of the representatives of Quicksand City's forces were gathered in the main hall. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong sat at the end, feeling anxious. Aya, why isn't Brother Lin here yet? Nan Gongseng was anxious. Could it be that he forgot? Ma Rulong was also worried. Impossible. Even though Brother Lin is a cultivation maniac, there's no way he would forget about this. Could it be that something happened on the way? The two of them were extremely anxious. The birthday banquet had already begun, but Lin Xian was not here yet. If they were discovered, they might offend the city lord's mansion. At that time, it might even alert the city lord. Hey, Aren't these the heroes of the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena? Why is one person missing? A mocking voice was heard. Hearing that, Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong's hearts skipped a beat. What they were afraid of really happened. Chapter 6:12. Just as Nan Gongseng was worrying, someone suddenly asked. Moreover, there was a hint of mockery in that voice. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong immediately looked up and saw that it was a disciple of Blackwood Fort, Blackwood Mountain. Damn it, this guy is definitely doing it on purpose. Seeing Blackwood Mountain's expression, Nan Gongseng was furious. Ma Rulong also shouted coldly, "You seem to be very concerned about our Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena." Not at all, not at all, Blackwood Mountain said with a smile. He was in a good mood and naturally wanted to avoid Ma Rulong and Ma Rulong. I advise the two of you not to wait because that kid will definitely not come. A sinister smile appeared on empty Blackwood's face. What? Hearing that, the two were shocked and looked at Blackwood Mountain. Why are you looking at me? I don't know anything. Blackwood Mountain sneered. I think you should worry about yourself. How dare you not come to the city lord's invitation? You must be tired of living. With that, Blackwood Mountain left with a smug look. Damn it, this is definitely related to him. Nan Gongseng was anxious. Don't worry, wait a little longer. With Brother Lin's ability, ordinary people can't hurt him. Ma Rulong's face was also gloomy. The two sat with a sullen face and did not say a word. Assassination Forest. The middle-aged man urged the black trees with all his strength, forming a strangling attack that pierced towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He did not know how many times he had swung his sword, but the trees seemed to be endless. He could not kill them all. Ha 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 ha, kid. Stop struggling and obediently become my nourishment. Humph. Wind Thunder Cut. Lin Xian swung his sword and a Wind Thunder Sword Chi was released. The violent and swift power swept out in all directions. The surrounding demonized trees were all sent flying, making cracking sounds. However, in the next moment, they sank into the ground and became nourishment for the forest. Instantly, even more branches flew over. Kid, don't fight recklessly. The Crimson Dragon transmitted. This should be the demonic cloud vine. Demonic cloud vine? Lin Xian was puzzled. What is that? It's a very abnormal plant. Unless we find its main body, it's impossible to kill it. The Crimson Dragon said, try to sense it carefully. You must find its main body. Otherwise, I'm afraid we won't be able to get out. Hearing this, Lin Xian was shocked. He then used all of his soul power to sense the middle-aged man's presence. According to his guess, the middle-aged man must be on the main body. However, the vines that filled the sky were actually able to affect the perception of soul power. Even though Lin Xian's soul power was strong, it was still extremely difficult for him to sense anything. Damn it! Lin Xian was infuriated. If it were any other day, he could have fought a war of attrition. However, he was in a hurry and could not afford to do so. Wooji Wooji, the little white monkey, shouted from the side. You can find it? Lin Xian was delighted. The little white monkey squinted its crescent-shaped eyes and nodded continuously. Then, it turned into a white light and disappeared into the depths of the forest. Soon, the little white monkey arrived in front of a towering tree. The tree was very large, with a diameter of more than 10 meters. It was pitch black and looked like a small mountain. At this moment, in the middle of the tree trunk, there was a human face stuck to it. If one looked closely, they would find that it was the face of the middle-aged man. This scene was too strange. A man had merged with a tree and could control the entire forest. It was unbelievable. However, the little white monkey ignored all of this. It raised its furry paw and slapped at the illusory face. Paw. The paw slapped the tree trunk and left a beast claw mark. Ha ha ha, it's useless. I won't faint this time. The middle-aged man laughed wildly. Little thing, I'll kill you in a while. Is that so? You won't have a chance. A cold voice sounded. What? The middle-aged man was shocked. The illusory face suddenly revealed a shocked expression because he saw a figure appear in front of him. It was a young man with a sword in his hand. He looked extremely fierce. Humph, boy, you're good. You actually found this place. The illusory face snorted. So what if you found it? The demonic cloud vine is an ancient strange creature. You can't hurt it at all. Now, go to hell. The middle-aged man suddenly shouted. Suddenly, countless purplish-black vines flew out and pierced the void like heavenly spears. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The entire space trembled. The vines spun rapidly and turned into powerful shockwaves that swept across the land. Chi-chi. In an instant, it pierced through Lin Xian's figure. However, the figure quickly turned into bubbles and disappeared. Afterimage. The middle-aged man was shocked and then snorted. However, in the next moment, he was shocked again because Lin Xian had arrived in front of him. A pitch-black long sword appeared and hung in the void. The long sword was filled with death and nirvana intent. It was as if that sword could take away all life. Let's end this. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He waved the nirvana sword and pierced it into the giant black tree. An invisible force of nirvana rushed out and quickly absorbed the vitality of the giant black tree. No! The middle-aged man's illusory face screamed in horror. He could feel the vitality of the black tree quickly draining away, and the branches were aging. That's impossible. His face was distorted. The demonic cloud vine was an ancient demonic creature. It was very powerful and had a strong vitality. It could be said that it was very difficult to eliminate. An adult demonic cloud vine could easily suck a supremacy dry. Although the middle-aged man's demonic cloud vine had not grown up yet, it was still very powerful. Even martial artists below the supremacy realm could not escape from it. Now, someone could actually hurt his demonic cloud vine, and the other party was only a youth in the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. It was too unbelievable. Stop. We can talk about this. The middle-aged man screamed. It was very difficult to cultivate the demonic cloud vine. He had spent a lot of effort to make the demonic cloud vine grow to its current state. But now, his beloved demonic cloud vine was rapidly losing its vitality. This was undoubtedly taking his life. The middle-aged man's heart was bleeding. Stop! Lin Xian sneered. Why didn't you say that before? Don't you think it's too late to stop now that you can't beat me? I was wrong. I'll let you go now and won't make things difficult for you. The middle-aged man begged for mercy. Is that so? Didn't you want to kill me and use me as fertilizer? Lin Xian sneered. You don't have a chance. I said it before. Either get lost or die. Since you're staying, then die. Kid, I'll fight you to the death. The middle-aged man went crazy. However, Lin Xian did not give him a chance. He activated the Nirvana sword with all his strength. A powerful force of Nirvana surged out and instantly covered the sky. The entire forest was withering and aging. As if it had reached the end of its life, countless tree trunks turned into ashes. In the end, the surrounding forest gradually disappeared, revealing the outside world. The familiar streets of Quicksand City appeared again. Lin Xian and the others also appeared. Chapter 613. Lin Xian used the Sword of Nirvana and finally destroyed the demonic cloud vine's attack. Not only that, but he also destroyed the entire forest. The boundless darkness disappeared and the outside world was revealed. The middle-aged man's illusory face also appeared beside Lin Xian. However, he was extremely pale and embarrassed. Please spare my life. I'll tell you who sent me. The middle-aged man's voice trembled. He no longer had the arrogance from before. At this moment, he didn't look like an assassin. He looked more like a stray dog. No need. I already know. Lin Xian's expression was cold. Blackwood Stronghold, right? Hearing this, the middle-aged man's pupil shrank. He was horrified. However, he still wanted to say something. The sword of Nirvana quickly pierced his chest and took away all his vitality. Then, all the dark forest disappeared. A purplish-black seed fell to the ground. The seed was as big as a fist. It was covered with patterns like a purple cloud. That was close. The crimson dragon heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the demonic cloud vine hasn't fully grown yet. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to escape. Demonic cloud vine. Lin Xian pondered. Then, he took the seed into his hand. This seed should still be alive, right? Kid, What are you doing? Are you trying to cultivate the demonic cloud vine? The crimson dragon was shocked. I reminded you that the demonic cloud vine is very difficult to cultivate. Ordinary people can't cultivate it. Moreover, it's too dangerous. There was once a king who cultivated one, but he was devoured by it. In ancient times, the demonic cloud vine represented disaster. The crimson dragon reminded him, "Don't worry. I know. I won't use it before I'm sure," Lin Xian said. Then, he put it into his storage belt. Lin Xian was shocked after seeing the demonic cloud vine's strange energy. However, he wasn't strong enough to control the demonic cloud vine. When he was strong enough in the future, he might cultivate the demonic cloud vine again. Let's go quickly. I'm afraid we'll be late. Lin Xian called the snow-white monkey and the crimson dragon and quickly walked towards the city lord's mansion. At this time, the city lord's mansion was still singing and dancing, bustling with noise and excitement. However, Nangongsheng and Ma Rulong were extremely anxious in their hearts. Lin Xian had yet to arrive, but Mt. Blackwood had already started to make things difficult for them. I've often heard of the Holy Dragon Arena's reputation. Now that I've seen it today, the two of you are indeed young heroes. Only, I wonder where that young genius with 10 consecutive victories is? That's right. Why didn't he appear on such an important occasion like the city lord's birthday? Doesn't he want to come here? Many people frowned when they heard those words. Those words were very sharp, as if they were trying to sow discord. Nan Gongsheng and Ma Rulong's eyelids twitched. Haha, how could that be? Brother Lin isn't feeling well, so he went out to rest. He'll be back soon. Oh, really? Where did he go to rest? Our Blackwood family's top-quality elixirs are very effective. They can definitely heal his body. Mt. Blackwood refused to let go because he knew that Lin Xian definitely wouldn't come. No need. Brother Lin will be back soon. Ma Rulong's voice was cold. As the two sides were arguing, the city lord's mansion's people frowned. Today was their city lord's birthday, and they had invited all the forces in Flozen City. Yet, someone dared to not come. This was simply not giving them any face. Moreover, the top forces were all here. Yet a young man dared to not come? This was simply not putting their city lord's mansion in his eyes. Especially those young disciples. Their expressions were cold and their eyes were unfriendly. Their cultivations were strong, and they were at the age where they were proud and arrogant. Yet, everyone was praising another young man. This made them feel unsatisfied. The old city lord sat in the main hall, surrounded by colorful clouds, making it impossible to see clearly. At this moment, when he heard the discussion below, he put down his wine cup and remained silent. A somewhat oppressive aura spread out and reverberated in the main hall. Nan Gongsheng was shocked. It seemed that he had alarmed the powerful city lord. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and quickly stood up. Junior Nan Gongsheng is truly fortunate to be invited by the city lord's mansion today. I hereby present a birthday gift. I hope the city lord will like it. You? What kind of gift can a small arena bring out to make the city lord like it? What a joke. Mt. Blackwood sneered. Immediately, a group of people echoed and laughter echoed in the surroundings. Nan Gongsheng's expression did not change as he stood with a smile. If it was something else, he would be a little worried. However, he had absolute confidence in this gift. Present it. A dignified voice sounded. Immediately, an old man walked down and stood in the air. He grabbed the purple sandalwood box with both hands. Then, he quickly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already above the main hall. Standing beside the city lord, the old man presented it with both hands with a respectful expression. The city lord took the sandalwood box and slowly opened it. Then, he revealed a look of surprise. I obtained this by chance. It's a 1,000-year-old immortality peach seed. I hope the city lord will like it, said Nan Gongsheng. What? A 1,000-year-old immortality peach seed? Everyone was shocked and in an uproar. One had to know that Quicksand City's climate was special, and it was very short of water. Therefore, there were very few spirit herbs here, and most of them were not very old. A 1,000-year-old spirit herb seed was very rare. Even a supremacy might not have one. Now, a spirit-detecting kid had presented such a big gift. The surrounding people exclaimed, and the way they looked at Nan Gongsheng and the others changed. The people of the Nangong family were also surprised. They did not know when Nan Gongsheng had such a treasure. The faces of Mt. Blackwood and the other disciples of the Blackwood family darkened. They had just mocked Nan Gongsheng for not being able to take out anything good. In the end, Nan Gongsheng took out 1,000-year-old spirit herb seed. At this moment, they felt their faces burning as if they had been slapped hard. Not bad. It does look like 1,000-year-old spirit herb seed, and it's full of spirituality. It's a high-grade item, the city lord said with a smile. Immediately, the air that was originally condensed dissipated and was replaced by a gentle aura. It's indeed a big gift. You're very considerate. The city lord's attitude was obviously much better, and there was even a trace of a smile on his face. Immediately, everyone was shocked again. It was not easy to get the city lord's praise. One had to know that before this, the city lord had only shown such an attitude when interacting with the older generation. The younger generation had never been appreciated by the city lord. But now, Nan Gongsheng was being praised. The young disciples present were very shocked, especially the disciples of the Blackwood family. Their faces were extremely gloomy. Don't think that you can escape the crime of looking down on the city lord with a gift. Mt. Blackwood sneered, and there was a trace of malevolence in his voice. Lin Xian dared to not attend the birthday banquet. This is a challenge and an insult to the city lord's mansion. His voice was unusually sharp, and it immediately intensified the conflict. Immediately, the entire hall fell silent again. Chapter 6:14. Mushin's words silenced the hall once again. Many people were shocked. It seemed like the Mushin family was at odds with the Holy Dragon Arena. Brother Mushin is right. That kid is too despicable. How dare he not come to the banquet? A young man snorted. Immediately, the crowd was shocked, and many of them revealed gloating expressions. Nan Gongsheng frowned. The young man who spoke was from the city governor's estate. He was a young master of the city governor's estate with a high status. At this moment, he expressed his dissatisfaction. Naturally, he stood on Mushin's side. Young Master Qi is right. I think we should capture Lin Xian and teach him a lesson. Mushin sneered. Don't worry. I'll send someone, the young man said in a deep voice. No need. I'm here. A steady voice sounded. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the hall. Everyone looked over and saw that the person was Lin Xian. Phew! Nan Gongsheng and Ma Rulong both breathed a sigh of relief. They could finally put their hearts at ease. Mushin's pupils constricted. He stood up in shock. You're fine? Why? Do you want something to happen to me? Lin Xian sneered. Or did your plan fail? Mushin's face changed. What nonsense are you talking about? I don't understand. He did send an expert to assassinate Lin Xian. However, he would never admit it. However, the fact that Lin Xian was able to make it here was beyond his expectations. Damn it! How is he still alive? Mushin couldn't understand. After all, he had hired top assassins. They were called the Dark Hunters. Ordinary martial artists below the venerable realm couldn't escape. However, Lin Xian had actually managed to escape. Mushin didn't know what happened. However, he wouldn't let Lin Xian go. Lin Xian, how dare you? How dare you be late for the city governor's birthday banquet? I think you're deliberately provoking the city governor's dignity. Mushin snorted. He wanted to show Lin Xian his power. Provoking the city lord? Lin Xian looked at Blackwood Mountain and sneered. I'm very curious. Are you a roundworm in my stomach? You actually know what I'm thinking. Or are you just making wild guesses? Blackwood Mountain, this is the city lord's mansion. It's not a place for you, a member of the Blackwood Castle, to behave atrociously. Lin Xian's voice was firm and resolute. Mushin was so angry that his face turned red and his whole body trembled. A little martial artist actually dared to berate him to his face. This was courting death. No one had ever dared to treat him like this. Blackwood Mountain's eyes were filled with endless killing intent. Where did this wild brat come from? This is not a place for you to behave atrociously. Get out. An elder of the Blackwood family coldly snorted. What? The young one can't do it. so the old one can? Lin Xian was not afraid. This is the city lord's birthday celebration. You want to fight? You've come to the wrong place, haven't you? After the city lord's birthday celebration, the Divine Dragon Pavilion's battle arena will welcome you at any time. However, please take note now. Do not disturb the city lord's birthday celebration. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. Instantly, the entire Blackwood family was so angry that their faces turned black. The surrounding people were also shocked. This Lin Xian was so valiant. To be able to turn the situation around under such unfavorable conditions, he was indeed powerful. After a few words, Lin Xian covered up the fact that he was late. Instead, he seized the weakness of the Blackwood family and quickly counterattacked. It was really beautiful. What a sharp-tongued brat. However, it's useless. The Blackwood family can't control you, but I can. Young Master Qi coldly snorted. He looked at Lin Xian with a trace of coldness in his eyes. There were two reasons why he was hostile to Lin Xian. Firstly, he was on good terms with the Blackwood family. At this moment, of course, he would stand with the Blackwood family to suppress Lin Xian. Secondly, as a young expert, he was very conceited. Other than a few great prodigies, he didn't put anyone else in his eyes. And these days, the entire Quicksand City was talking about Lin Xian. This made him very unhappy. Even he didn't have this kind of fame. What right did a little spirit-detecting martial artist have to receive this kind of treatment? Therefore, when he saw Lin Xian today, he had a desire to suppress him. Seeing young Master Qi's attitude, Lin Xian frowned. The other party was from the city lord's residence, so he couldn't openly oppose him, especially on this special day of the city lord's birthday. However, he wasn't someone who would be bullied. He really didn't care about young Master Qi's attitude. What he cared about was the city lord's attitude. However, the city lord was wrapped in a hazy light and couldn't be seen clearly. On the other hand, Nan Gongxing transmitted a message and told him about what had happened. After Lin Xian heard this, he felt more confident. Since the city lord had accepted the 1,000-year immortality peach seed, his attitude shouldn't be too bad. Thinking of this, he smiled slightly. You're also from the city lord's residence. Saying this is too hurtful. Lin Xian's face was full of regret. I wasn't late for no reason. I had a reason. Reason? Young Master Qi snorted. Of course there's a reason. I was late because I went to prepare a gift for the city lord. Gift? Everyone was stunned. Didn't the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena just give him a 1,000-year spirit fruit seed? Why was there a gift? Nan Gongxing and the others were also stunned. They didn't know what Lin Xian was up to. Blackwood Mountain and the others sneered with a look of disbelief. Young Master Qi also snorted. It's such a long-time gift. It must be a treasure. If you can't take it out, I'll take your head. Hearing this, Lin Xian revealed a mysterious smile. Although he had been cultivating these days, he also learned from Nan Gongxing that although the city lord was a supremacy, he had a hobby, and that was drinking. Therefore, Lin Xian brewed a pot of spirit wine in advance. Lin Xian had learned a lot about spirit wine from Lord Alcohol. His technique could be said to be shocking. Other than Lord Alcohol, no one could beat him. With a flip of his palm, a pot of spirit wine appeared in his hand. I know that the city lord loves to drink, so I brewed a pot for city lord Qing to taste, Lin Xian said with a smile. Taste? Young Master Qi snorted. Who do you think you are? You should know that the city lord has a body of gold. Why would he drink your lousy wine? The surrounding warriors sneered. They knew that the city lord loved to drink, but not many people gave him wine. Not only did the city lord love wine, but his taste was also tricky. He didn't care for ordinary spirit wines. Only spirit wines brewed by wine masters could match the city lord's taste. Therefore, although others wanted to give him wine, they couldn't. Sigh, this kid is going to be unlucky. How can a small warrior like him have good wine? I guess he won't be able to curry favor this time. He's going to be unlucky. Hee, serves him right. Spirit wine isn't that easy to give away. Nan Gongxing and young Master Qi were surprised. They didn't know that Lin Xian brewed spirit wine. Blackwood Mountain sneered. Idiot, he's courting death. Originally, he couldn't find a way to deal with Lin Xian, but he didn't expect Lin Xian to take the initiative to deliver himself to him. the city lord would definitely refuse. When that happened, he would probably be angry. When that happened, it would be Lin Xian's death. Lin Xian took in everyone's reaction, but he was very confident. He smiled and opened the lid of the wine pot. Chapter 6:15. Lin Xian opened the lid of the wine jug. A rich wine aroma wafted out and filled the hall. The aroma was very rich, making people intoxicated and unable to extricate themselves. It smells so good. What kind of spirit wine is this? Everyone exclaimed. Top quality. I didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a spirit wine. Who is this kid? Why does he have so many good things? Blackwood Mountain and young Master Qi were also stunned. The two of them were stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a high-quality spirit wine. Good wine. The city lord also let out a loud laugh. This time, the city lord personally took action. The colorful light around him surged and formed a colorful waterfall. He threw it into the air and took away the wine jug in Lin Xian's hand. Good wine. It really is good wine. The city lord drank a cup, then clapped his hands and laughed. Since 100 years ago, when a spirit wine grandmaster left, I haven't had such a delicious spirit wine. Good, good, good. Everyone was shocked. They had never seen the city lord so excited before. Even when he received the 1,000-year-old spirit herb seed, he wasn't so excited. But now, Lin Xian's jug of spirit wine made the city lord excited like a child. Ha 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 ha. Little friend Lin, please sit. Thank you, city lord. Lin Xian smiled indifferently, then sat beside Nan Gongseng. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong looked at Lin Xian with strange expressions. What's wrong with me? Lin Xian helplessly rubbed his nose. He was a little scared by the two stares. Why do I feel like you're a monster? How do you have so many rare treasures? It's not that exaggerated. I only have these things. It's just that they're being used. Lin Xian's jug of spirit wine made the city lord very happy, and Lin Xian himself was admired by the city lord. Obviously, Lin Xian and the others were the biggest winners of this birthday banquet. The Nangong family and Ma family were also happy. After all, Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong were also the sons of their families. However, the other powers were unhappy, especially the people from the Blackwood stronghold. Their expressions were terrifyingly gloomy. They had originally planned to suppress Lin Xian, but they didn't expect that not only did they fail to suppress him, the other party had even received the city lord's recognition. This made them feel gloomy. In the distance, young Master Qi also snorted coldly. He didn't expect things to turn out like this. Previously, he had even mocked the other party, saying that the other party had brought out a lousy wine. He had even wanted to use his authority to take the other party down. However, he did not expect that Lin Xian would actually take out a top-grade spirit wine. Not only that, even the city lord was very happy. This was unacceptable to him, and he felt as if he had been slapped in the face. Thinking of this, his eyes became even more gloomy. Brat, don't be too proud. I'll definitely kill you. Young Master Qi snorted coldly in his heart and said respectfully to the city lord, Ancestor, although we have good wine, the singing and dancing are a bit boring. The men of my quicksand city are all hot-blooded and warlike. Why don't we invite someone to come up and fight? All right, then I'll leave it to you, the city lord said indifferently. His mind was now completely focused on Lin Xian's spirit wine. Thank you, Ancestor. Qi Tian's face was filled with joy. Then, the corner of his mouth raised into a smile as he looked down. Today is the Ancestor's birthday banquet. Why don't we have a martial arts competition to liven things up and make the city lord happy? Hearing this, the various forces began to discuss. Many people thought that this was an opportunity. Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong were vigilant. They knew that a difficult problem was coming. Qi Tian smiled and asked, I have a servant with decent strength. I wonder which young talent is willing to come up and fight? Is there a need to choose? Black Musin sneered. We have someone here who has won 10 consecutive battles. Why don't we let him come up? Suddenly, the surrounding crowd was shocked, and they all looked at him with an interested expression. Brat, I heard that you've won 10 consecutive battles. Come up and fight. A bald young man stood out with a shocking aura around him. Lin Xian naturally knew what these people were thinking. He raised his head and casually glanced at the bald young man, then said indifferently, "You win." To be honest, he had no interest in fighting at this kind of banquet. Everyone was surprised. They did not expect Lin Xian to admit defeat. This was too illogical. Qi Tian frowned. This result was also out of his expectations. The bald young man was a battle servant that he had trained. He was very powerful and had once won 10 consecutive battles in a medium-sized arena. It could be said that he did not lose to Lin Xian at all. Originally, he wanted the bald young man to defeat Lin Xian, but he did not expect Lin Xian to admit defeat. Although this was still considered a win, he was still very unhappy. He did not just want a sentence. He wanted Lin Xian to suffer a crushing defeat in front of everyone. He wanted him to never be able to raise his head again. Therefore, he had to let Lin Xian fight. Qi Tian's face was gloomy, and he gave Haimu-san a look. Haimu-san smiled knowingly and said, "Lin Xian, you're not giving him any face by doing this. Today is the City Lord's birthday banquet. Letting you fight is already giving you face. You're refusing so perfunctorily. It seems like you don't give the City Lord any respect." Haimu-san once again pinned a crime on Lin Xian. "Oh, so you want me to fight by name?" Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. Of course, not accepting the challenge is disrespect to the City Lord. Haimu-san smiled. I understand." Lin Xian nodded. "I'll challenge you by name. Come up." "What?" Everyone was stunned. Haimu-san was also stunned. At that moment, his mind went blank. Then, his face turned gloomy. Although he was also a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm, he could not beat Lin Xian at all. One had to know that Lin Xian had defeated a veteran who had taken the demon blood pill. He was no match for him at all. "What? You don't dare to fight or admit defeat?" Lin Xian's face was full of sarcasm. Haimu-san was trembling with anger. He originally wanted to use the situation to pressure Lin Xian into accepting the challenge, but he did not expect that he would accidentally fall into his opponent's trap. Now, he was in a difficult position. He was very sullen. For a moment, Haimu-san was stunned on the spot. "What? Scared? Who said that not accepting the challenge is disrespect to the City Lord?" Lin Xian sneered. "Are you going to disrespect the City Lord?" Haimu-san's face was ugly, and he complained in his heart. The Haimu family members behind him were also furious. "You don't even dare to refuse. Trash. Get lost and save yourself from embarrassment." Lin Xian mocked mercilessly. Nan Gongsheng and Ma Rulong were excited. This feeling was too good. "I didn't expect that the Haimu family would produce a trash coward." You're still talking when you can't do it. What an idiot." Nan Gongsheng and Ma Rulong sneered. Haimu-san's face was ashen, and he almost fainted. The Haimu family elders were also furious. They glared fiercely at Lin Xian's group, wanting to tear them apart. Qi Tian's face was full of anger. He said darkly, "Lin Xian, logically speaking, you should be competing with my battle servant. Why are you looking for Brother Haimu? That's not very appropriate, right? If you really want to compete with Brother Haimu, that's fine. You have to defeat my battle servant first." Chapter 616. Qi Tian appeared in time to stop Lin Xian. Haimu also reacted. He had almost fainted from being angered by Lin Xian just now. Now that he had the chance, he naturally retaliated quickly. "That's right." Young Master Qi called out first. "If you want to fight, you'll have to fight him first." Haimu sneered. "It won't be too late to fight me after you win." He was very familiar with Qi Tian's battle servants. He knew that they were a group of madmen who had undergone hellish training since they were young. Moreover, the bald youth was even more impressive. He had once achieved 10 consecutive victories and did not lose to Lin Xian at all. In fact, he was even stronger than Lin Xian. Therefore, Haimu was confident that the bald youth could defeat Lin Xian. Even if Lin Xian won in the worst-case scenario, he would have exhausted too much of his spiritual power and might even be seriously injured. If he attacked again, he would definitely be able to defeat Lin Xian easily. Haimu revealed a sinister smile at the thought. Lin Xian naturally took note of the other party's reaction. He said calmly, "Can I fight you after I fight him?" "Of course." Haimishin smiled confidently. "With so many seniors here, I hope you remember what you said and don't embarrass the family." Lin Xian laughed and stood up. "Come." Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian really accepted the challenge. From the looks of it, he seemed to be very confident. However, those present were all old foxes. They naturally knew that the battle servants of the city lord mansion were very powerful and did not lose to the geniuses outside. Therefore, they did not know the outcome of this battle. The hall was very spacious. At this time, the singers in the center had already retreated, leaving enough space. At this moment, the bald youth stood in the middle of the field like a ferocious beast. "Kid, let me see how good your 10 consecutive victories are." At the end of his sentence, a terrifying aura rose from his body like a wave, sweeping in all directions. There was a dull sound in the air like a storm. The bald youth threw out a punch. All the momentum in the sky condensed on his fist, and it quickly blasted towards Lin Xian. Nan Gongseng and the others were shocked. This punch was too violent, and a normal peak spirit detecting realm cultivator would not be able to withstand it. It seemed like the other side was going all out. Lin Xian didn't have any misgivings. He used the concept of wind and condensed a green jade sword. With a slash of the sword, a fierce wind tore through the earth and quickly slashed forward. Boom! The bald youth's fist collided with Lin Xian's green jade longsword, creating an earth-shattering sound. In the next moment, the bald young man's body trembled, and he took 4 or 5 steps back. What? He was pushed back. Many people were shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Qi Tian's face turned gloomy, but he still wanted to believe in his battle servant. Lin Xian's sword forced the bald youth back, and his body rushed forward like a gust of wind. His long sword stabbed out once more, and the surrounding air quickly rotated, forming a spiral wind blade. This spiral attack was even more powerful. It directly tore through the air like a piece of cloth, creating a sizzling sound. Many young experts' expressions changed. This kind of attack made their hearts tremble. Pong! Before the bald youth could stabilize his body, he was hit by the green jade longsword again. This time, he was directly sent flying and smashed into the ground. There was a sword hole on his shoulder. It was sinister and terrifying, and blood was quickly flowing out. "You lost." Lin Xian shrugged, looking very relaxed. Qi Tian's face was ashen. He quickly transmitted, "Kill him, kill." The bald youth roared. Originally, he didn't care about Lin Xian. Although Lin Xian's name was very famous, he thought it was only a rumor and couldn't be trusted. Moreover, he was very confident in his own strength. Therefore, he thought this battle would be very easy. However, he didn't expect that he would be suppressed and even injured. With a roar, the bald youth quickly stopped the injury on his shoulder. Then, he looked at Lin Xian gloomily. In his eyes, a ball of anger was burning, as if it could burn Lin Xian to ashes. He stomped his feet, and like a meteor, he pounced forward again. This time, he punched out with both fists. The violent power was enough to tear an ultimate warrior apart. However, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. He held the green jade sword and quickly slashed down. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, forming countless green sword shadows. These sword shadows, under Lin Xian's control, quickly stabbed towards the bald youth. Ding 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 ding. The defensive armor in front of the bald youth was pierced in an instant. Suddenly, countless sword chi hit his body and sent him flying again. When the sky full of sword shadows disappeared, everyone looked over anxiously and immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. They saw the bald youth lying on the ground. His body was covered with sword scars. They were so densely packed that it made their hearts beat wildly. However, these sword scars were very controlled. Although they were terrifying, they weren't fatal. It was obvious that Lin Xian had shown mercy. Everyone present was an expert. They naturally knew that Lin Xian was giving face to the city lord. Otherwise, the bald youth would have died thousands of times. Even so, everyone still gasped. One had to know that the city lord's mansion's battle servants were very strong. Take this bald youth, for example. He was definitely an expert among the ultimate warriors of the spirit-detecting realm. However, such an expert couldn't even fight back in front of Lin Xian. This kind of super strength made those young martial artists feel apprehensive. Lin Xian was too powerful. He was definitely a top-notch figure. Qi Tian was so angry that he was trembling. He didn't expect his subordinate to be so pale. This made him feel like he was going crazy. At the same time, he was also shocked by Lin Xian's strength. The bald young man was ranked in the top 3 amongst his combat servants, yet even such a person hadn't been able to resist a single attack from Lin Xian. So, there was probably no one amongst his combat servants who could be a match for Lin Xian. After Lin Xian defeated the bald youth, he turned to look at Blackwood Mountain. Suddenly, the latter's body trembled and his face became very ugly. Lin Xian was too strong. He wasn't a match for him at all. However, Blackwood Mountain wasn't going to sit still and wait for death. He roared, "How dare you? The city lord's birthday banquet was supposed to be a spar. How dare you use such a killer move? Are you trying to rebel?" He wanted to use this opportunity to suppress Lin Xian. "Killer?" Lin Xian snorted. "If I wanted to kill him, he would have died long ago. I'm afraid all the experts here can see that. Your strength isn't enough, and your eyesight isn't good either. It's best if you don't jump out and embarrass yourself." Hearing this, Blackwood Mountain trembled in anger and spat out a mouthful of blood. He naturally knew that Lin Xian was holding back, but he couldn't say it out loud. Now, he was being mocked for being weak and having poor eyesight. This made him want to die. There's no point in talking anymore. Now, it's your turn. Come on, let me see what kind of ability you have to yell here. Lin Xian stared at Blackwood Mountain. Chapter 617. Now, it's time for us to fight. Lin Xian stared at Mt. Haimu. Putting the past aside, Mt. Haimu had repeatedly pressured Lin Xian during the banquet. He even wanted to take the opportunity to pin a crime on him and get rid of Lin Xian. There was no way Lin Xian would let such an enemy go. Mt. Haimu's body trembled as fear appeared in his eyes. He was no match for Lin Xian at all. Yet, he dared to boast like that. He originally thought that the battle between Lin Xian and the bald youth would end in a lose-lose situation. However, he did not expect it to turn out like this. He was momentarily stunned as he did not know what to do. "Are you afraid now? Where's your arrogance from before?" Nan Gongseng sneered. "You said such bold words before and even swore in front of so many seniors. If you don't fight now, I'm afraid you'll embarrass the Haimu family." Ma Long snorted. Hearing that, the disciples of the Nangong family and Ma family mocked him. They were competitors with the Haimu family. Furthermore, Mt. Haimu had repeatedly suppressed the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. This made them very unhappy. One should know that Lin Xian was not the only one in the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. Their family's disciples were there too. Therefore, they were furious. Now that they seized this opportunity, they naturally had to mock Mt. Haimu. Hearing that, the surrounding martial artists looked at the Haimu family with a different expression. Their eyes were filled with mockery and sarcasm. The faces of the Haimu family's disciples turned red. They wished they could find a hole to hide in. Elder Anxio's expression turned ugly. Many of the elders looked at Mt. Haimu with rage in their eyes. Mt. Haimu sensed the anger in the elder's eyes, and his body trembled even more. "Useless thing. You've brought shame to the clan. Accept the challenge." The Haimu family's elder shouted coldly. Hearing that, Mt. Haimu's face fell, and he almost cried. He had the urge to curse. He did it for the family. However, the family did not care about his life and death. For the sake of their dignity, they forced him to fight Lin Xian. It gave him a feeling of abandonment. He still wanted to struggle. However, an elder coldly snorted and waved his hand. Bringing forth a gale, he pushed Mount Blackwood to the center of the stage. It seemed that in order to preserve their dignity, the Darkwood clan had decided to give up on Blackwood Mountain. Blackwood Mountain was pushed to the center of the field. He was panicking. He still wanted to escape, but Lin Xian blocked his path. The surrounding cultivators cheered even louder. "What a beautiful movement technique. I didn't expect Brother He Mu to be so impatient. What a surprise," Lin Xian said with a smile. Accident my ass. MT Blackwood's expression turned extremely ugly. He was on the verge of tears. He knew that there was no point in running away now, so he might as well fight to his heart's content. In any case, he believed that Lin Xian would not dare to kill him in this kind of situation. He would only suffer a little pain. As long as he could survive this, he would definitely find his family's elders and kill Lin Xian in secret. Die, you little bastard. MT Blackwood waved both of his palms. A large amount of light surged, forming a rain of light that quickly shot forward. Lin Xian used the concept of wind to form a sword of wind and quickly slashed down. With one slash, he destroyed all of the attacks. At that moment, MT Blackwood had already retreated several dozen meters. He was wearing a purple gold armor that emitted a hazy light that wrapped around his body. At the same time, he was holding two treasured artifacts. In his left hand was a golden-colored round shield that was as heavy as a rock. In his right hand was a long blade. On the blade, a cold light shone. It was obvious that it was not an ordinary item. Among the three weapons, two of them were upper spirit rank treasured artifacts. They were extremely powerful. It seemed that MT Blackwood was extremely careful. Seeing MT Blackwood wrapped his body like a tortoise's shell, the crowd laughed. This guy is truly afraid of death. Marulong shook his head. He's still so arrogant when he has no balls. What an idiot. Nan Gongseng sneered in disdain. Seeing MT Blackwood's actions, Lin Xian also laughed. He removed the concept of wind and replaced it with the concept of lightning. There was already a sword of lightning in his hand. The golden-colored sword shone with a dazzling light like the sun. The sword was filled with a berserk power. It was the power of lightning. The concept of wind was proficient in speed and strange changes. As for the concept of lightning, it was the symbol of berserk and power. As for this lightning sword, it was able to display the berserk power to the pinnacle. As the sword descended, a golden sword aura swept through the air. It was like a bolt of lightning that exploded in the air. The entire space started to boil. It was as if it could not withstand the power and started to emit buzzing sounds. In an instant, the sky was filled with lightning. The golden sword aura quickly slashed toward MT Blackwood. With MT Blackwood's strength, it was naturally impossible for him to block it. Thus, he placed all of his hopes on the two defensive treasured artifacts. He pushed his spiritual power with all his might. He frantically mobilized the surrounding spiritual energy and quickly poured it into the two defensive treasured artifacts. The air surged and countless spiritual energy surged. Immediately, the purple gold battle armor and golden shield started to shine and rapidly change. The purple gold battle armor appeared and formed patterns that quickly covered MT Blackwood's entire body. As for the golden shield, it expanded infinitely and formed a wall of light. It stood above MT Blackwood, forming the strongest defense. Those two treasured artifacts were both high spiritual rank treasured artifacts. Thus, MT Blackwood was absolutely confident that Lin Xian would not be able to injure him. Although such a battle was somewhat dishonorable, as long as he could withstand Lin Xian's attack, everything would be worth it. Boom! The lightning sword aura descended and collided with MT Blackwood's defense. It created an earth-shaking sound, and the entire palace was nearly blown away. Struck by the berserk power, Montana Blackwood was pushed back repeatedly and left deep grooves on the ground. However, he finally managed to withstand Lin Xian's attack. Ha 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 ha, brat. Let's see how you're going to injure me. MT Blackwood rubbed his numb arm and became arrogant again. A sneer appeared on Lin Xian's face. Everything was within his expectations. After all, those two treasured artifacts were high spiritual rank treasured artifacts. If he did not use his true strength, he would not be able to break through their defense. However, dealing with MT Blackwood was not worthy of him using his full strength. Furthermore, he had other methods to break through the defense of those two high spiritual rank treasured artifacts. Previously, he had fought against a martial artist. That martial artist knew how to use hidden power. Only a body refinement defense could withstand the defense of treasured artifacts. MT Blackwood clearly did not have a body refinement defense. Thus, this move was the most suitable. Furthermore, Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul and could easily imitate that hidden power attack. Thus, no matter how much defense MT Blackwood used, it was completely useless. Soon, the golden longsword condensed again and slashed down fiercely. It's useless. You can't break through my defense, MT Blackwood said disdainfully. The longsword surged and quickly slashed down again. This time, there was no earth-shattering explosion like before. The golden sword aura seemed to be sticking to the light screen. Its movement was extremely gentle. This scene stunned everyone. They did not know what Lin Xian was doing. However, MT Blackwood revealed an expression of fear. Chapter 6:18. That was because he felt a berserk aura pass through his defensive shield and slash towards him. He was shocked and confused. He could not understand how Lin Xian's sword aura could pass through his defense. But now, he could not care about that at all. He could only activate his defensive armor with all his might. Purple gold radiance shone as the mysterious armor stuck to his body, forming a solid defense. However, none of that had any effect. In the next moment, that terrifying aura once again ignored the armor's defense and directly entered Hai Mu Shan's body. Hai Mu Shan's face twisted as he screamed crazily. Everyone was shocked. Looking at the scene before them, their hearts turned cold. This Lin Xian was too strong and decisive. He actually dared to injure Hai Mu Shan in front of so many elders of the Hai Mu family. He was too bold. Moreover, his attack was too strange. Even two high-grade spiritual artifacts could not defend against it. Hai Mu Shan screamed as he vomited blood and fell to the ground. He was extremely weak. Everyone from the Hai Mu family was nervous. Among them, a few elders had gloomy expressions. Lin Xian really dared to attack. Wasn't he looking down on them too much? However, they could not stop all of this. They could only bring Hai Mu Shan back with gloomy expressions. Although Hai Mu Shan was vomiting blood, his injuries were not serious. This allowed the Hai Mu family to breathe a sigh of relief. Damn it, I'll definitely kill you. Hai Mu Shan gritted his teeth and said. He knew that Lin Xian did not dare to be ruthless. However, he would definitely take revenge. Lin Xian shrugged with a nonchalant look on his face. However, he was sneering in his heart. Hai Mu Shan wanted to kill him. Of course, he would not let him go. However, in front of so many people, he naturally could not be ruthless. Otherwise, those old guys from the Hai Mu castle would have an excuse to attack. Therefore, he only symbolically injured Hai Mu Shan. However, he left a hidden sword aura in his body. This hidden sword aura was very well hidden. Unless a venerable personally investigated, no one would be able to discover it. After the birthday banquet ended, he would let this hidden sword aura explode. This way, he would be able to cripple Hai Mu Shan's cultivation. Moreover, even if the Blackwood clan was furious, they couldn't find any evidence. Lin Xian was confident that he could retreat safely as long as he wasn't surrounded by some old monsters at the same time. The members of the Blackwood family looked at Lin Xian with gloomy and cold expressions, but no one dared to clamor again. That was because they did not bring their best disciples with them this time. The disciples that came with them all possessed cultivations that were about the same as those from Blackwood Mountain. Although he was strong in the eyes of others, he was nothing but trash in front of Lin Xian. If he continued to clamor, he would undoubtedly be asking for humiliation. My big brother Hai Muya didn't come, otherwise I would have suppressed you with one hand. Black Pearl was also a little angry. After all, Lin Xian had embarrassed her family. That's right, kid. You're too arrogant. Compared to big brother Hai Muya, you're just trash. The disciples of the Blackwood Fort snorted coldly. Even though they were no match for Lin Xian, they wouldn't let Lin Xian steal the limelight either. Moreover, their clansmen, Hai Muya, were really powerful. Lin Xian had heard of the name Hai Muya more than once. He believed that the other party must be a peerless genius. Thinking of this, he felt a trace of excitement in his heart. A warrior like Blackwood Mountain could no longer arouse his interest. Only a stronger opponent could make his blood boil. Hee, young friend, your strength is outstanding. You're just as the rumors say. At this moment, City Lord Qi said with a chuckle. City Lord is overpraising me. Lin Xian cupped his fists and said, he was a person who knew his limits. In front of a powerful supremacy like the city lord, he would not put on a strong front. That would undoubtedly be courting death. With your strength, I believe that you'll be able to shine in the Alliance combat meet 2 months later. Alliance combat meet? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He had been in seclusion these days, so he didn't know about this. However, Nan Gongseng quickly told him. This was a combat meet that was jointly held in Quicksand City. Because there were too many foreign martial artists that came during this period of time, many shocking experts had appeared. These people were all following the Morong Heavenly Maiden. Not long ago, there was news that the major forces in the city had received orders from the Morong Heavenly Maiden to hold an unusual combat meet. The winner would obtain the qualifications to pursue the Morong Heavenly Maiden. This was no doubt explosive news, causing the entire Quicksand City to fall into a frenzy. Morong Qingsheng was known as one of the most beautiful women in the Sky Martial Continent. Moreover, she was the apple of the Morong family's eye. If one could obtain the favor of the Morong Qingsheng, not only would he be able to obtain the beauty, he would also be able to obtain the support of the Morong family. This was definitely a great harvest. One had to know that the Morong family was an extremely powerful house of kings. In the Sky Martial Continent, they were an overlord existence. Beauty, power. These were all things that made the men of the world go crazy. This was why the Alliance combat meet was so exciting. Moreover, in order to promote the Alliance combat meet, the major families of Quicksand City also took out several treasures as rewards for the winner. One of them was the Divine Dream Bone, which was the material needed to create the Red Lotus battle armor. After Lin Xian found out about this, he made up his mind to participate in the Alliance combat meet. This was because the materials needed to create the Red Lotus battle armor were extremely precious and difficult to find. Since he had encountered it this time, he could not give up. Otherwise, he did not know when he would encounter it again. All in all, this birthday banquet was very successful. Not only did he obtain the City Lord's recognition, but he also knew the whereabouts of the Divine Dream Bone. It could be said that Lin Xian was very satisfied. This is great. With the City Lord, I'm afraid that no one will dare to touch our Divine Dragon Pavilion's battle arena. Nan Gongseng shouted excitedly. His dream was to make the battle arena the #1 battle arena in Quicksand City. Ma Rulong was a little worried. We should be careful. I'm afraid that the Blackwood family will not let this matter rest. Moreover, I'm afraid that Qi Tian will not let this matter rest so easily. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. If Qi Tian were to make a move, it would be troublesome. As for the Blackwood family, he already had a feud with them. It was not something that could be resolved with 1 or 2 matters. Moreover, he did not expect to resolve it. Half a day later, the birthday banquet ended and everyone left. The members of the Blackwood family stared at Lin Xian and the other two with murderous intent in their eyes. Humph, the show is about to begin. Lin Xian transmitted his voice to Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong. When the two of them heard this, they were surprised. Then, the two of them looked at Blackwood Mountain with joy. Damn it, brat, I will never. Blackwood Mountain's face was ferocious. But before he could finish his words, his body suddenly exploded. An extremely violent energy rampaged through his body, quickly destroying his spiritual sea vortex. My body. Blackwood Mountain screamed in horror and vomited blood. Shaner, what happened? The members of the Blackwood family were shocked. They did not see anyone attack. My cultivation has been crippled. Blackwood Mountain screamed. He had fallen into madness. Chapter 619. Cultivation, that was the lifeblood of a martial artist. It was also the guarantee of everything. Only with strength could one have status and status. If one's strength and cultivation were gone, then everything would cease to exist. But now, Blackwood Mountain had been crippled. His cultivation and strength were all gone. From now on, he was nothing but a cripple. Blackwood Mountain crazily shouted. He simply couldn't accept this reality. He knew what a cripple's fate was. His fate wouldn't be much better than a dog's. Lin Xian, it must have been Lin Xian who did this. Blackwood Mountain crazily shouted, I will kill you. The Blackwood family clan members also had faces full of killing intent. Their disciple had been crippled by someone, and this was in front of their very eyes. This was the same as slapping their faces. In that instant, countless eyes locked onto Lin Xian. That damned brat. The Blackwood family clan members were enraged. Although they knew that it was Lin Xian who did this, they had no proof. Moreover, Lin Xian had just obtained the City Lord's recognition. If they moved against him now, the City Lord wouldn't agree. Unless they could produce irrefutable proof that it was Lin Xian who did this. However, several elders carefully examined Blackwood Mountain's body and didn't discover anything strange. This result left them even more uncomfortable. Thus, the Blackwood family clan members could only grit their teeth and swallow their anger. The surrounding martial artists were shocked. To be able to cause the people of Blackwood Fort to suffer such a loss, this Lin Xian was far too skilled. It was best not to provoke such a person. Let's go. The few elders of the Blackwood family gave Lin Xian a fierce glare, then quickly left with the crowd. Let's go too. Lin Xian shrugged his shoulders and quickly left with Nan Gongseng. Blackwood Mountain had received his just punishment. There was no need for him to stay. In the following days, Lin Xian lived in seclusion, preparing for the Alliance martial arts tournament. He had to obtain the Divine Dream Bone no matter what. Thus, he had to obtain an extremely good ranking in this tournament. Even if he had to expose some of his hidden cards, he wouldn't hesitate. After returning from the City Lord's mansion, Lin Xian consolidated his cultivation. His cultivation had reached the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm, and he was only one step away from the peak. This step was not easy. At the very least, Lin Xian was still unable to break through. However, he wasn't in a hurry. He had just broken through to the late stage and needed to consolidate his foundation. Moreover, his strength was not based on his cultivation, so it did not matter if he could not break through for the time being. In terms of sword intent, it was still at the great accomplishment realm. However, he guessed that there should be a consummation realm above it. As for those above perfection, one would need to be a venerable one to cultivate them. In other words, in the spirit-detecting state, the strongest sword intent was complete. However, Lin Xian had asked the Crimson Dragon and found out that Exalt Realm cultivators didn't cultivate intent, but martial souls. In other words, above the intent realm was the martial spirit. For example, above the sword intent was the sword soul, a power that was even more powerful than the sword intent. Moreover, according to the Crimson Dragon's description, the martial spirit was very important. It could be said that it determined whether a cultivator could enter the Exalt realm. Lin Xian was surprised after hearing this. Only by condensing the embryonic form of the martial soul would a cultivator at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm have the possibility of entering the Exalt realm. In other words, the martial soul was a necessary condition to enter the Exalt realm. Sword soul, Lin Xian muttered. Although his sword intent was only at the great accomplishment realm, there was still a big gap between him and the sword soul. However, he lacked the great dragon's sword soul in his body, an even more powerful existence. I wonder if the great dragon's sword soul belongs to the sword soul? Kid, you only merged with the great dragon's sword soul, but you didn't turn it into your own power. The Crimson Dragon sneered. Right now, you can only mobilize a little bit of its power. You can't even use 1/10,000th of the great dragon sword soul. Rubbing his head, Lin Xian knew that the Crimson Dragon was telling the truth. To fully activate the great dragon sword soul, one needed an extremely high cultivation. That requirement even exceeded that of a venerable one. With Lin Xian's current cultivation, it was impossible for him to reach that level. Is there no other way? Lin Xian frowned. There is a way. The Crimson Dragon's eyes turned. What way? Lin Xian asked anxiously. Refine the great dragon sword soul into your sword soul. Hearing this, Lin Xian rolled his eyes. That was as good as not saying anything. Damn, kid. What's with that expression? The Crimson Dragon was unhappy. You have a way? Lin Xian asked doubtfully. Of course. Don't you know who Ben Huang is? The Crimson Dragon was proud. When Ben Huang galloped the world, your ancestors weren't even born yet. What way? Tell me quickly. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Hee. The Crimson Dragon laughed sinisterly. If you want to know, beg me. You don't want to tell me? Lin Xian grabbed the snow-white monkey. Be careful. I'll release Little White. Hearing this, the crimson dragon drooped its head. It was afraid of the snow-white monkey's little claws. The dizziness made it feel disgusted. Forget it. Bin Huang will be kind and tell you for free. Disperse the power of the great dragon sword soul and leave behind its origin. Then, refine the city's origin martial spirit. This will allow you to completely possess the great dragon sword soul. Disperse the power? Lin Xian was surprised. The great dragon sword is an offensive saint technique. In ancient times, it was the strongest saint weapon. Although only the great dragon sword soul is left, the power it contains is extremely shocking. If a real almighty person obtains it, he can split the entire sky martial continent in one strike. Split the continent in one strike? Lin Xian's eyelids twitched. He did not dare to imagine how powerful the ancient warriors were. Moreover, he was even more puzzled. How could such a powerful great dragon sword break? Of course, this was not the time for him to think about. Although the power of the great dragon sword soul was terrifying, Lin Xian was unable to use it. It was better to disperse it. This would allow him to refine the great dragon sword soul and make it his origin martial spirit. How can I disperse its power? Lin Xian asked. It seems that you have made a decision. The Crimson Dragon said, I will teach you a method to disperse your power. This way, you will be able to disperse the power of the great dragon sword soul. At the end, the Crimson Dragon's expression showed a trace of excitement. Lin Xian frowned and looked at the Crimson Dragon with vigilance. Then, he received the cultivation technique from the Crimson Dragon. After carefully studying it, Lin Xian did not find any flaws. Although he was not at ease with the Crimson Dragon, Lin Xian could not find a better way. Therefore, after thinking about it, he decided to give it a try. According to the cultivation technique, Lin Xian began to activate it. Sure enough, the energy fluctuations in the great dragon sword soul emitted an uneasy aura. A wave of energy overflowed and spread to Lin Xian's body, forming a substantial tide of spiritual energy. It was very spectacular. The Crimson Dragon waved its dragon claws and set up a set of array around the courtyard to prevent the spiritual energy from leaking out. Then, it felt the spiritual energy in the air and laughed excitedly. What a powerful spiritual energy! After absorbing this spiritual energy, I will definitely be able to recover to my peak state. At that time, this world will be mine. Chapter 620. The Crimson Dragon actually wanted to absorb the overflowing spiritual energy to recover its cultivation. No wonder it was so attentive before and even helped Lin Xian for free. It turned out that it wanted to secretly strengthen itself. If it really succeeded, it would recover its previous cultivation. At that time, no one would be able to suppress it. Wu Ji, the snow-white monkey looked angry. It turned into a white light and rushed over quickly. Humph, little guy. Bin Huang has long been prepared. The Crimson Dragon smiled proudly. Ever since the snow-white monkey was able to knock it out, it had been thinking of countermeasures and finally created a formation. It was completely possible to trap the snow-white monkey for a period of time. Whoosh! A mass of colorful light shone. The Crimson Dragon threw out the formation and enveloped the snow-white monkey. The formation was very strange. It only trapped the snow-white monkey and limited its speed. It did not cause any harm. But for the Crimson Dragon, it was very successful to be able to limit the snow-white monkey's speed. Ha 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 ha! Bin Huang is here. The Crimson Dragon shouted and began to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. Lin Xian formed a seal and entered a state of cultivation. At this moment, he was completely focused on the great dragon sword soul and did not know what was happening in the outside world. The energy in the great dragon sword soul quickly spread out, but in the next moment, all the energy returned to his body. This change surprised Lin Xian. In the outside world, the Crimson Dragon was even more angry. It was originally quickly absorbing the spiritual energy in an attempt to recover its cultivation. However, not long after, the surrounding spiritual energy receded like a tide and all of it returned to Lin Xian's body. Damn it, what happened? Does that kid know? The Crimson Dragon was uneasy and nervous. However, after careful investigation, it found that Lin Xian did not wake up. Moreover, his handsome little face was slightly frowning. Damn it, what the hell is going on? When the Crimson Dragon found out that it wasn't Lin Xian's doing, it was hopping mad. The situation was too strange. The energy had actually retreated, which made its plan fail. Wooji Wooji at the side, the little snow-white monkey mocked him mercilessly. Damn it, little guy. Don't laugh. The Crimson Dragon was furious. Then it stared at Lin Xian carefully, trying to figure it out. Lin Xian was also flabbergasted. The energy was coming back to him, which caught him off guard. However, what made him even more surprised was that this huge amount of energy did not flow back into the great dragon sword soul. Instead, it entered the mysterious small sword in his body. This, Lin Xian was stunned. The small glazed sword in his body was very mysterious. It sat firmly on top of the cyclone in his spiritual sea. Even the great dragon sword soul could not shake it. And now, it actually began to absorb the energy within the great dragon sword soul. This was too inconceivable. In the end, Lin Xian didn't even need to use his cultivation technique as the mysterious little sword began to absorb the energy on its own. Roar! Suddenly, the great dragon sword soul exploded, letting out an unwilling roar. A deep dragon roar echoed in his body. At the same time, Lin Xian's body bloomed with light, and countless streams of light surrounded him. Damn, what happened? The Crimson Dragon exclaimed when it saw this scene. The great dragon sword soul went berserk. What did this brat do? The great dragon sword soul exploded, and a terrifying energy filled Lin Xian's body. Holy light sprinkled down, and a vast amount of energy surged. At this time, a mysterious energy appeared on Lin Xian's body again. It was like a demonic abyss, quickly absorbing the energy of the great dragon sword soul. It appeared again. The Crimson Dragon was stunned. It didn't know that Lin Xian had a mysterious energy. This brat was really strange. He had so many secrets on him. The two forces intertwined, and in the end, the great dragon sword soul was suppressed. Mother Dragon, what did I just see? The Crimson Dragon banged its head on the ground in disbelief. This process lasted for a long time, and in the end, the two balls of light gradually disappeared. When everything returned to normal, the small courtyard regained its tranquility. It was as if everything was just a dream. Gradually, Lin Xian still didn't open his eyes. His soul force was still in his body. At this time, the great dragon sword soul had turned into a mini dragon. It was very cute. As for the mysterious small sword, there was still no change. It was as if the energy had no effect on it. However, in the depths of the mysterious world, there was a huge mountain in the shape of an azure dragon. From afar, it looked like a real dragon lying on the ground. Lin Xian was happy. The great dragon sword soul had returned to its original form. This meant that he could refine it. As long as his sword intent reached perfection, he could take the next step. The so-called martial spirit was a martial spirit formed by the fusion of a martial artist's intent and soul force. Lin Xian already had the embryonic form of a martial spirit. As long as his intent reached perfection, he could fuse it. At that time, the great dragon sword soul would become his origin martial spirit. Just thinking about it made him excited. According to the Crimson Dragon, the martial spirit was very important. Not only did it have a great impact on one's strength, but it also had a great impact on one's future path of martial arts. Therefore, when choosing a martial spirit, one must be very careful. The great dragon sword soul was a strange object between heaven and earth. If one used it as a martial spirit, it would be extremely powerful. Suppressing his happy mood, Lin Xian opened his eyes. Then, he saw the Crimson Dragon with an uneasy face. "Hee, kid, you're awake?" The Crimson Dragon crossed its dragon claws. "Well, I'm thirsty. I'm going to drink some water." "Stop," Lin Xian said with a smile. He found that the Crimson Dragon was too abnormal. This guy must have done something shameful. Wooji Wooji, the snow-white monkey, ran over and jumped in front of Lin Xian and began to gesticulate. Seeing the vivid description, the Crimson Dragon had a guilty look while Lin Xian's little face turned black. Damn, I was tricked. Lin Xian was very unhappy. He was almost cheated by this Ruzalong. Fortunately, he had the mysterious small sword in his body. Otherwise, this guy would have succeeded. If the Crimson Dragon recovered its cultivation, he was afraid that the first one to suffer would be him. Looking at the Crimson Dragon, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Hee hee, Xiao Xuanzi, let's talk. The Crimson Dragon laughed dryly. Its face was very ugly. From now on, your primordial yang stone will be restrained. Lin Xian's little face turned cold. What? The Crimson Dragon jumped up. The primordial yang stone was a good thing. It could help it condense dragon essence again. This thing is its lifeblood. However, it quickly became listless. It had just tricked Lin Xian. Lin Xian must be angry. It was already good enough that he did not torture it immediately. Forget it. Let's wait until this kid calms down. The Crimson Dragon looked depressed. Lin Xian sighed in his heart. This Ruzalong really needed to be taught a lesson. Otherwise, he would not know when he would be tricked again. In the following days, Lin Xian had been refining his sword intent. He wanted to reach the complete realm as soon as possible so that he could condense his martial soul. At this time, something happened in the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. Chapter 621. While Lin Xian was cultivating his sword intent, something happened at the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. Nan Gongseng hurried over to look for Lin Xian. This is so infuriating, so infuriating. Nan Gongseng screamed. What's wrong? What happened? Lin Xian asked. The Colosseum has been challenged by someone. Even Ma Rulong is injured. What? Rulong is injured? Lin Xian was shocked. He knew Ma Rulong's strength. He was considered a top-notch existence. If even Ma Rulong was injured, one could only imagine how strong the opponent was. Brother Xian, you don't know this, but this is definitely against our arena. Damn it. Qi Tian and the Darkwood clan brought experts here to challenge us. They're clearly going against our Colosseum. Nan Gongseng is furious. Hearing this, Lin Xian's face darkened. It was the Darkwood clan again, and Qi Tian was also involved. Lin Xian knew that this was definitely not the mayor's idea. It was most likely Qi Tian's personal jealousy. This was because Qi Tian had clearly stood on the Darkwood clan side and suppressed them during the birthday banquet. And now, he actually brought people to challenge them. This was simply looking down on them. Let's go take a look, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Because of the mayor, he would not touch Qi Tian for the time being. However, he would definitely not let the Darkwood clan and the warriors that came with them go. Wait, Bin Huang is going too. The Crimson Dragon howled. It would not miss such a show. Nan Gongseng was already used to this talking red snake. He pulled Lin Xian and ran towards the arena. At this moment, the Shang Long Xian's arena was in chaos. The people inside were panicking. When they saw Nan Gongseng and the others return, they heaved a sigh of relief. Young Master Shang, young Master Lin, you're back. What's the situation? Lin Xian asked. The people who came to challenge us have left. They said that they will come again tomorrow. Young Master Rulong is also injured, so I temporarily closed the arena. Let's go and take a look, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then, the deacon led the way. Soon, they entered an exquisite bedroom. You're here. When Ma Rulong saw Lin Xian and Nan Gongseng, he struggled to get up from the bed. Don't move. You haven't recovered yet. Lin Xian walked over and supported Ma Rulong. Then, he took out a few pills and fed them to Ma Rulong. The quality of these pills might not be as good as the best pills outside, but their healing effects were definitely top-notch. Sure enough, not long after, Ma Rulong's complexion improved a lot. Who was it that could injure you? Lin Xian frowned. Luo Lai, the outstanding talent of the Sand region. He is extremely powerful. Rumor has it that he has never been defeated since his debut. Moreover, he has comprehended the metal attribute. His attack power is extremely powerful. Luo Lai. Lin Xian repeated the name, committing it to memory. Metal attribute attacks, he has never been defeated. It seems that the opponent is indeed very powerful. No wonder he was able to injure Ma Rulong. Have a good rest. Leave the rest to us, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then, he and Nan Gongseng left. Brother Xian, how is it? Are you confident? Nan Gongseng asked after they came out. He is very nervous now. Ma Rulong has already fallen from the top 2 experts of the martial arts arena. Now, only Lin Xian is left. If Lin Xian also loses, then the martial arts arena will not be able to hold on. At that time, they might end up like the Wang family's martial arts arena. Don't worry, there won't be a problem. Lin Xian smiled indifferently. Although Luo Lai is rumored to be very powerful, he is not someone to be trifled with. Moreover, his cultivation has increased recently and his strength has increased again. Therefore, he is confident in this battle. That night, Lin Xian stayed in the martial arts arena. He knows that the other party will not give up and will come again. Sure enough, the next day, Qi Tian brought a group of people to the martial arts arena again. The leader is Qi Tian and a young man with a gloomy face. He is the disciple of the Darkwood family, Heimuyue. Behind them were 7 extremely powerful martial artists. Each of them had an abnormally powerful aura, as if they were gods of war. Seeing this group of people, the people in the martial arts arena looked nervous. Many of the warriors felt bitter. They were still injured by these people yesterday, and now they are here again. Hee. I'm afraid the martial arts arena of the Divine Dragon Pavilion will become history today. Heimuyue's face was ferocious. Their Darkwood family was humiliated by Lin Xian a few days ago. Today, they can finally get back at him. Thinking of this, he felt a sense of relief. Let's go. Heimuyue waved his hand. He and Qi Tian led a group of powerful warriors into the martial arts arena of the Divine Dragon Pavilion. Soon, all the warriors in Quicksand City knew about it. Many people came to watch. They already knew about the incident at the Divine Dragon Pavilion. At this moment, most of them came to watch the show. Among them were many Wang family disciples. These people looked ferocious. They wanted to see the destruction of the martial arts arena of the Divine Dragon Pavilion with their own eyes. Seeing more and more people rushing into the martial arts arena, Nan Gongseng's face was gloomy. Today's battle was crucial. If they lost, the martial arts arena would not be able to establish itself in Quicksand City. These days, after Nan Gongseng's development, the martial arts arena of the Divine Dragon Pavilion was running well. It also attracted many warriors to hold down the fort. Although these warriors were powerful, they were much weaker compared to a peerless genius like Luo Lai. Therefore, many of the warriors in the martial arts arena were beaten up badly yesterday. Looking at the warriors who were beaten up, Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He gave each warrior a healing elixir and asked them to recuperate. Then, he said in a deep voice, "You don't have to fight today. Just watch." Hearing that, everyone was shocked and looked at Lin Xian. They all knew that this young man was powerful. Originally, they only wanted Lin Xian to fight against the Sand Region's outstanding talent, Luo Lai. However, they did not expect that Lin Xian would take over all the battles. Don't worry. I will avenge all the suffering that you have suffered. Lin Xian clenched his fists and said in a sonorous voice, "Remember, no one can bully the martial arts arena of the Divine Dragon Pavilion." Hearing that, everyone's hearts trembled. They looked at Lin Xian and felt their blood boil. They were the most dazzling and tragic group of warriors in the martial arts arena. Usually, they would be well taken care of. However, once they failed, they would be mercilessly kicked out of the martial arts arena. However, even though they were defeated this time, Lin Xian and the rest did not make things difficult for them. They even gave them good elixirs to heal their injuries. Now, they even wanted to avenge them. Thinking of this, they were excited. They all felt that entering the martial arts arena of the Divine Dragon Pavilion was the best choice. Young Master Lin, we believe in you. Young Master Lin, go for it. Defeat them all. The group was extremely excited. Chapter 622. Trash from the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena. Come out now. I'm here again. Trash, come out and face your death. One after another, extremely arrogant voices rang out and reverberated in the air above the arena. The crowd was shocked. It seemed like the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena was in for a bad time. Haimuyu and Qi Tian led their men and stood arrogantly in the arena, looking down on everyone. At that moment, Lin Xian and Nan Gongseng led a group of martial artists out. They were very quiet, but there was a murderous aura coming from them. Lin Xian, you're really here. Hai Miyu and Qi Tian revealed a ferocious expression when they saw Lin Xian. Kid, today is the day you die. There's no need for the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena to exist anymore. Humph. Don't think that you'll be safe and sound after pleasing the governor. The governor won't interfere with the younger generation's affairs. The group of people sneered as if they had everything under control. Upon hearing that, the people of the Divine Dragon Pavilion were enraged, while Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He never expected the governor to protect everything. He would be satisfied as long as he could intimidate those old guys. As for the younger generation, he was never afraid of anyone. Lin Xian's lips curled into a sneer. These guys were really arrogant, but he would make them pay the price. I'm here. Show me what you've got. Lin Xian floated to the arena and said loudly, Go to hell. In the next moment, a burly man came out from behind Hai Miyu and dashed toward the arena. At the same time, he drew the long saber from his back and slashed down. The dazzling saber gleam tore through the sky like a bolt of lightning. In an instant, the terrifying saber gleam slashed toward Lin Xian. How terrifying! The crowd was shocked. This was definitely an elite among the ultimate powerhouses. They did not expect the Haimu family to be such a powerful person. Amidst the crowd's exclamations, Lin Xian raised his arm. He put two fingers together and pinched the saber gleam in the air. Arrogant! You're courting death. Seeing Lin Xian's behavior, He Muyue and the others sneered. The surrounding crowd was also shocked. This kind of attack could already kill a peak spirit detecting realm cultivator. Although Lin Xian was strong, wasn't using two fingers a bit too much? The burly man became even more furious. He roared angrily and exerted even more strength. How dare he underestimate him? He would make them pay the price. The sword-wielding man was furious. No one dared to look down on him. Those who dared to look down on him had already paid the price in blood. Clang! Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Lin Xian stretched out two fingers and easily caught the resplendent blade light. He exerted a little force, and the blade light emitted a cracking sound. Then, it cracked and turned into a rain of light. What? That's impossible. Everyone was shocked. The blade-wielding man was even more terrified. His blade was extremely sharp, and a normal peak spirit-detecting martial artist would die upon contact. However, Lin Xian used two fingers to easily shatter his attack. Is he still human? After shattering his opponent's attack with two fingers, Lin Xian bent his fingers and flicked out a sword wave. The sword wave was as fast as the wind and as powerful as lightning. It quickly struck the burly man's chest and sent him flying. The burly man spat out blood and flew back. There was a terrifying sword hole in his chest. All of this happened in an instant. By the time everyone regained their senses, the battle was already over. How terrifying! As expected of a genius with 10 consecutive victories. Everyone exclaimed. He Muyue and Qi Tian's faces were gloomy. They hadn't seen him for a few days, but he seemed to have become even stronger. They had never heard of such a speed of improvement before. Qi Tian clenched his teeth and said, Damn this guy. Is he even human? The burly man just now was even stronger than his battle servant, but such an expert was still easily defeated. This made him feel like he was going crazy. He Muyue's face was gloomy as he shouted, Go! Kill him! Suddenly, another warrior quickly rushed out with a long spear in his hand. The spear stabbed out, and the spear light was like a silver waterfall, producing thunderous sounds in the void. The air was mercilessly cut apart like waves, flying to both sides. Everyone was terrified. This warrior was too powerful. His aura seemed to be able to tear the sky apart. Whoosh! Looking at the spear user rushing over, Lin Xian bent his fingers and flicked out another sword wave. Bang! The sword wave was like lightning, instantly hitting the spear head. Suddenly, the void was like boiling water, violently trembling, accompanied by a terrifying explosion. The spear user was forced back, moving horizontally in the void with a frightened face. Lin Xian didn't stop. His fingers flicked and flicked out another sword wave. Chi, chi. Ripples appeared in the void, mercilessly cut apart. There were even terrifying cracks in some places. Everyone's expression changed. Lin Xian was too powerful. Facing such a powerful opponent, he didn't move at all. He only flicked out 2 sword waves and repelled his opponent. This kind of powerful technique was definitely rare in the world. Moreover, what shocked everyone even more was that the youth in front of them was only 18 years old, and his cultivation was only at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. However, most ultimate warriors were no match for him. This kind of person was definitely a heaven-defying existence. In the void, the spear user was still retreating. He was hit by Lin Xian's second sword wave and slid dozens of feet away. His armor, which had been shining with holy light, had now dimmed. It was easy to imagine just how powerful the attack had been. Moreover, the sword wave was too powerful. It contained a terrifying sword intent that made his blood boil, and blood kept flowing from the corner of his mouth. "This is the expert you found?" Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. "You have the nerve to come here with this little strength?" Lin Xian stood on the martial stage, looking down at He Muyue and Qi Tian, his eyes full of contempt. Damn it! Damn it! He Muyue and Qi Tian were furious. Their faces were pale, and their bodies trembled, emitting a biting cold killing intent. Damn it! This is too much. They brought a group of experts here. They originally wanted to take down Lin Xian and destroy the Divine Dragon Pavilion's arena to relieve the resentment in their hearts. However, they didn't expect to lose 2 matches in a row as soon as they arrived. Moreover, they were mercilessly despised in public. This feeling was very embarrassing. "Ah, kid, go to hell." The spear user was furious. He roared into the sky, and an even more violent aura rose from his body. He became one with his spear, forming a terrifying aura. With a thrust of his spear, the spirit Qi in the sky was driven, forming a ferocious roaring dragon that enveloped the surroundings. Everywhere it passed, cracks appeared on the ground. The windows, tables, and chairs on both sides were all turned into powder. This spear was the full force of the martial artist's attack. In the face of such a violent attack, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He repeated his previous actions, flicking out sword waves one after another. Ka ka ka. Every sword wave was extremely sharp, and it quickly blasted towards that martial artist. Chapter 623. Lin Xian flicked his fingers and shot out sword waves one after another, all of which were aimed at the spearman. Every wave of sword energy pierced through the void, forcing the spearman to retreat. In the end, his body was filled with terrifying sword holes. Poof! The spearman fell to the ground, severely injured. Blood splattered everywhere. This was too shocking. That spearman was extremely powerful, especially that spear attack just now. It could definitely pierce through any ultimate warrior. There were probably not many people present who could withstand it. However, such a powerhouse was still defeated by Lin Xian. And it was a crushing defeat. A bunch of trash. Is this what gives you two the right to be so arrogant? Lin Xian shouted angrily, looking disdainfully at everyone. He Muyue and Qi Tian were trembling with anger. This was a slap to their faces. Luolai, kill him. Qi Tian screamed, his face ferocious. He was about to go crazy. Only Lin Xian's death could calm him down. A young man walked out. He was tall and wore a red robe, like the sun. His expression was cold, but there was a hint of ruthlessness between his brows. It was frightening. Luolai, it's really him. The outstanding talent of the Sand region, the undefeated legend. I didn't expect such a talent to appear. Everyone gasped in shock. They had no choice. Luolai's reputation was too great. He was like the scorching sun, high up in the sky, pressuring them until they could not breathe. Although Luolai was not among the 4 great prodigies, everyone knew that his strength was not inferior to any of them. At least, according to what they knew, he had never been defeated. Among those of the same level, he had almost instantly defeated his opponents. Even some of the powerful elders had been defeated by him. Such a person could be said to be a top powerhouse. Other than the few recognized prodigies, There were probably only 1 or 2 people in the entire sand region who could go against him. As for whether Lin Xian could go against him, they did not know. Lin Xian, you're not bad. You're the first person I've seen who has such combat strength at the late stage of cultivation, Luo Lai said calmly. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect Luo Lai to give such an evaluation of Lin Xian. Qi Tian was also stunned. He frowned. What was Luo Lai doing? He actually praised the other party. He was dissatisfied, but he didn't show it. Luo Lai was a top-notch expert, but he was not his servant. The two of them only had a business relationship, and their status was equal. Therefore, he could only watch. However, with your strength, you have no chance of winning against me. Luo Lai's voice was calm, as if he was talking about something very normal. Admitting defeat is the best and wisest choice for you. With a calm expression, he looked at Lin Xian. Even though he had never displayed any arrogant and domineering behavior from the beginning to the end, his calm words revealed an unquestionable tone. This was not a suggestion, but an order. Everyone was shocked. If someone else had said something like this, they might have laughed because Lin Xian would definitely have slapped them. However, Luo Lai was different. No one would doubt his words. Qi Tian smiled. This was the effect he wanted. Kid. In front of Luo Lai, you can only wait for your death. He Muyue was also relieved. You are very confident. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. But it seems that you are overconfident. You are wrong. My words have always been accurate. Luo Lai's eyes shone brightly. You will soon know that everything will go according to my plan. Come, I am looking forward to the result of this battle. Lin Xian's body also shone brightly. He immediately activated his sword intent. This time, he felt an unprecedented pressure from Luo Lai. It was obvious that Luo Lai was a strong opponent. That pressure was definitely not weaker than Shun Yaoyan's. Stubborn. Luo Lai snorted. He was disdainful of Lin Xian's stubbornness. It seemed that only by using his fist could he wake Lin Xian up. Boom. Luo Lai took a step forward. His body suddenly exploded with an imposing aura. A ball of blazing light, like a blood-red sun, suddenly exploded. Luo Lai's fist blasted out. It carried an extremely strong force and instantly blasted towards Lin Xian. This fist was as fast as lightning. Coupled with the strong force, it directly stunned everyone. Lin Xian's expression was cold. The sword light in his eyes flickered. The sword intent in his body exploded, setting off a strong aura. It was like a peerless divine sword unsheathed. It was unstoppable. That swift and fierce stance caused the surrounding martial artists to be aghast. Sword intent. It is actually sword intent. Gosh, it is the third concept. This is too heaven-defying. Everyone was shocked. They'd already witnessed Lin Xian's wind concept and lightning concept, but no one had imagined that Lin Xian actually had a third concept. Moreover, it was an extremely rare sword intent. This sword intent is so sharp. It definitely surpasses the previous 2 concepts. Could this be Lin Xian's true strength? No wonder he is not afraid of Luo Lai. Everyone was shocked. They had never seen a genius who had comprehended 3 concepts. Luo Lai snorted. A cold light flickered in his eyes. It was like a sharp blade that slashed across the void. Luo Lai was surprised that Lin Xian had concealed his strength, but this also aroused his anger. He would let Lin Xian know what it meant to be an undefeatable king. The light on his body became even brighter. Rays of golden light shone and wrapped around his body, giving off a metallic texture. A cold metallic aura emanated from his body, making him look like a King Kong. Swoosh! In the void, a dazzling sword chi flashed across and quickly slashed towards Luo Lai. Boom! Boom boom! An earth-shattering sound reverberated, causing the entire arena to collapse. Nan Gongsheng was shocked. He quickly brought people to reinforce the defensive array to prevent the violent energy from leaking out. The sword slashed viciously on Luo Lai's body. However, it was like metal clashing against stone, giving off a clanging sound. Luo Lai was like a King Kong war god. His body was extremely hard, and he took Lin Xian's sword head-on. Shocking, too shocking. Luo Lai's body was probably even stronger than an upper spiritual rank defensive weapon. Yet, it did not leave a single scratch on his body. However, Luo Lai's heart sank. Lin Xian's sword essence had exceeded his expectations. It was extremely sharp, and it caused his blood to boil. If it was not for his powerful King Kong flame demon body, he would not have been able to take that sword. However, this made him even more furious. Lin Xian was able to make him feel threatened. He could not let such a person live. Flaming metal fist. Luo Lai threw out a punch. The golden light was like a blade as it rushed towards Lin Xian. The aura was fierce, and it did not belong to Lin Xian's sword essence at all. An expert, an absolute expert. Luo Lai's every move was extremely powerful. His sharpness far exceeded that of an ordinary swordsman. This must be the power brought about by the metal's spiritual energy. Lin Xian did not dare to be careless. He swung out his long sword, and the power of wind and lightning merged to form a wind and lightning sword chi. Wind and lightning cut. Countless wind and lightning forces intertwined to form a huge wind and lightning sword chi that shone in the air. The sword chi was accompanied by Lin Xian's sword essence, and it slashed forward with a terrifying momentum. Chapter 624. As the sword slashed down, the huge sword aura seemed to split open the void. With a sharp aura, it whizzed towards Luo Lai. The power of this sword was terrifying. The sword essence it contained was even more terrifying. In an instant, the space where Luo Lai was seemed to have been split open. The sword aura of countless thin swords was extremely violent. Feeling the terror of this sword, Luo Lai's face turned gloomy. He shouted and waved his fists. The golden light on his body shone brightly. Metal element fist. He used the power of metal. The metal runes on the surface of his body shone with golden light and clanged. His fist blasted out and exploded the area. The entire defensive light screen trembled rapidly as if it could not withstand it. The sword aura and the fist shadow collided and burst out with monstrous energy. The two forces did not give way to each other and were in a stalemate. What a strong sword essence. It can actually resist my metal element fist? Luo Lai was shocked. He comprehended the concept of metal, and his body contained the power of metal. It could be said that his attack power was extremely strong. Among the younger generation in the entire Sand region, there were few who could match him. However, this powerful punch did not shatter his opponent's sword aura. It was almost split open by his opponent. This Lin Xian was indeed more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. At this moment, Lin Xian shouted, "Explode!" Rumble. The wind and lightning sword aura exploded and produced a destructive energy that instantly annihilated Luo Lai. In an instant, the entire arena was filled with wind and lightning. The sea of lightning spread and was terrifying. Fortunately, there was a defensive light screen. Otherwise, the entire arena would have been turned into dust. Looking at the destructive energy, the crowd was shocked. These two people were too terrifying. If there were no restrictions, they could have destroyed half of the city in an instant. Even with the defensive light screen, the martial artists still felt their hearts palpitate. Boom! A golden light pillar burst out and stirred up the exploding energy. Luo Lai's figure appeared. His body shone with golden light like a god of war. However, his face was extremely gloomy. The explosion just now had threatened him. Although he was not injured in the end, he was at a disadvantage. "Kid, you have completely angered me." Luo Lai's expression was ferocious. He was like a ferocious beast that was quickly awakening. Lin Xian held his sword. His aura was even sharper. Such an opponent was what he longed for. Fist of metal, heaven splitting. Luo Lai waved his fist again. The golden radiance was like thousands of swords. It formed a huge airflow and rushed towards Lin Xian. Wherever it passed, the air was torn apart like a piece of cloth. This is one of the killing moves of the Fist of Metal. Looks like Luo Lai is going to go all out. Everyone was shocked, but Qi Tian and the others smiled. Lin Xian was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. As he felt the surging power in front of him, his pupils shrank. That power was too powerful. That golden flood was like a sun, carrying with it a blazing aura. The sharpness in it was even more powerful, and it seemed to be no weaker than his sword in tint. Concept of metal? He's really strong. Different intents would contain different amounts of energy. The metal intent focused on attacking. That was why Luo Lai's attack was so powerful. However, how could Lin Xian be afraid? He was someone who possessed an offensive saint art like the great dragon sword spirit. His clothes fluttered in the wind, and he looked like a peerless sword immortal. His entire body exuded spiritual power and sword intent. Around him, the wind was like a sword, unstoppable. Heaven-sealing sword. Since his opponent's attack was to split open the sky, he would seal the sky. Lin Xian held the wind shadow sword in his hand and rushed out quickly. His long sword swung, forming a sword screen. In the void, an arc-shaped sword screen was formed, covering half the sky. Within the light screen, countless sword auras intertwined, forming a strangulation technique. The sword screen fell, covering the golden flood. Suddenly, an ear-piercing sound could be heard in the void. In an instant, the two forces collided fiercely, and small cracks appeared in the void. There was also an ear-piercing demonic sound. It was the sound of sword auras slicing. The golden light roared like a giant beast, and its sharp impact seemed to break the sword screen. Behind him, Luo Lai roared. His whole body shone with golden light, and endless spiritual energy rolled, quickly merging into the golden flood. The fist of metal seemed to be nourished, and it became even more violent. Lin Xian's sword screen was constantly pushed back, and it was being squeezed out of shape. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked and speechless. On the other hand, Qi Tian and the rest revealed satisfied smiles. Feeling Luo Lai's strength, Lin Xian's eyes darkened. Then, he raised his long sword and shouted, "Wind Lightning Dragon, roar!" A deep roar could be heard, shaking the surroundings. The sword screen rotated and changed in the air, quickly forming a wind lightning dragon. The dragon's head was ferocious, and it roared to the sky, releasing a powerful force. The wind lightning dragon roared and rushed forward. Its huge dragon claws slashed down, tearing everything in front of it apart. Chi-chi. As the claw landed, the fist of metal was torn apart. What? It was torn apart. Everyone was shocked. The tyrannical fist of metal was actually torn apart. Luo Lai's pupils shrank. The power of the wind lightning dragon shocked him. While he was in a daze, his opponent had completely destroyed his fist of metal. Humph! Golden flame wave. Looking at the wind lightning dragon, Luo Lai revealed a sinister smile. His right fist turned into a palm, and a thick golden ball appeared on his palm. The golden ball was small, but it emitted a monstrous energy. The moment it appeared, everyone trembled. He waved his hand, and the golden ball spun. A golden light wave flew out as fast as lightning. The void rippled, and the golden light beam flashed. It was like the sharpest spear in the world, piercing forward. Roar! The wind lightning dragon was pierced, and it exploded. Violent energy overflowed, but it couldn't stop the golden light wave. On the surface of the golden light beam, there were balls of golden flames burning. The scorching energy distorted the void. Lin Xian's expression changed. This golden light was enough to threaten him. He didn't take it head-on. Instead, he used his mysterious footwork and dodged with extreme speed. At the same time, the wind concept played its greatest role, forming a green airflow under his feet. Whoosh! At this moment, Lin Xian's speed was extremely fast. The golden light beam brushed past him, and the terrifying energy made his blood boil. But fortunately, he dodged it. Puff! The golden light beam flew, and its speed didn't decrease. It quickly hit the defensive light screen. However, the light screen only lasted for a moment before it couldn't hold on and shattered. Behind him, Nan Gongsheng and the others' expressions changed. The light beam was coming toward them. The entire arena fell into fear. They couldn't escape, and they didn't have the strength to resist. Facing such an attack, Lin Xian didn't choose to take it head-on. One could imagine how terrifying it was. Seeing this, Luo Lai revealed a sinister smile. Originally, he was depressed that Lin Xian could dodge his killer move. But now, it seemed to be more interesting. If these people died, what would Lin Xian's expression be? He was looking forward to it. Chapter 625. The golden flame wave was extremely powerful. It hit the defensive light screen and tore it apart. Moreover, the terrifying light wave rushed towards Nan Gongseng and the others. If they were hit, Nan Gongseng and the other members of the casino would be turned into ashes. Seeing this scene, Qi Tianxiao, Mu Yu, and the others laughed wildly, their faces sinister. Although they didn't expect this result, they were overjoyed. Lin Xian's face changed when he saw this. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen if this attack hit. Perhaps those people would leave him forever. After these days of interaction, he had already treated Nan Gongseng as a brother. Now that his brother was in trouble, he couldn't ignore it. With a roar, Lin Xian didn't hide his strength anymore. He unleashed all the spiritual energy in his body. He used the illusory demonic steps to the extreme. His entire body disappeared in the air as he flew quickly. However, the golden light was too fast. It reached Nan Gongseng and the others in the blink of an eye. Not enough. Faster. Faster. Lin Xian roared. He didn't want a tragedy to happen. With a roar, the spiritual energy in his body exploded again. At the same time, the wind and thunder essences formed a pair of wind and thunder wings on his back. The wind and thunder wings flapped and the two essences exploded. Together with his extreme movement technique, his speed broke through the limit at this moment. In an instant, he reached Nan Gongseng and the others. Run! Lin Xian waved his hand and formed a palm of light that pushed Nan Gongseng and the others away. As for himself, he had to face the terrifying golden flame wave. Lin Xian. Nan Gongseng retreated to a safe distance. When he saw this, he roared crazily. He wanted to rush forward, but the terrifying golden flame wave had already swallowed Lin Xian. No! Nan Gongseng roared crazily. His handsome face was filled with pain. The group of people behind him also roared angrily. They were unwilling to accept this. In order to save them, Lin Xian had put himself in great danger. This made them extremely grateful. At the same time, they were filled with regret. Brother Xian, why are you so stupid? Nan Gongseng was in pain. He didn't dare to imagine the consequences of being hit. His heart was filled with pain as if he had lost his soul. Luolai, if my brother gets hurt, I won't let you off easily. Nan Gongseng roared as he glared at the golden figure in the sky. You're not qualified. Luolai sneered, completely ignoring Nan Gongseng's threat. Down below, Qi Tianxiao, Mu Yu Shuo, and the others laughed loudly. Great! This scourge is finally gone. If he was hit by that terrifying golden flame wave, even if he didn't die, he would definitely be seriously injured. When the time came, they would definitely be able to take the other party's life with a few stabs. Up ahead, golden light flickered and raging flames burned. All of the nearby buildings were destroyed, forming a terrifying scene. Not only that, but that space had also fallen into an extremely unstable state, as if it could collapse at any moment. At this moment, a ray of red light shone like a red sun, piercing through the clouds. What? Everyone was shocked as they stared ahead. Luolai's face was also gloomy because he could sense that Lin Xian's aura had not weakened. In fact, it had become even stronger. This is impossible. Luolai did not believe that no one could resist the golden flame wave head-on, not even a prodigy. However, the aura in front of him made him more and more uneasy. Originally, that space was extremely unstable. Golden light and raging flames burned, forming a cloud-like energy that enveloped everything. However, at this moment, a ball of red light pierced through the clouds as if a red sun had risen. The red light intertwined to form a red lotus that was born from the flames. It was extremely dazzling. As soon as the red lotus appeared, the surrounding golden flames suddenly dimmed. They did not even dare to approach it. What is that? Everyone was shocked. They could not believe that there was such a powerful red lotus in the world. However, an even more shocking scene appeared. From the huge red lotus shadow, a figure slowly walked out. The figure was slender and exuded a majestic aura. It was as if an immortal king had crossed time and space. As the figure walked out, the red lotus shadow in the sky quickly condensed and finally imprinted itself on the figure. Finally, The figure was completely revealed in front of everyone's eyes. Black wind fluttered, and his eyes were filled with determination. He was wearing a fiery red battle suit with a red lotus blooming on it. It was incomparably beautiful. Lin Xian, he's still alive, the crowd exclaimed. Heavens, he's not injured. He took the golden flame wave head-on and didn't suffer any damage. I'm afraid no one in the spirit detecting realm can do that. Who is this guy? How can he have such a powerful defense? Luo Lai also had a face of disbelief. He did not believe that his killing move would fail. However, everything in front of him had subverted his understanding. Damn it, what is that red lotus battlesuit? Luo Lai's face was ferocious. Even a high-grade spiritual treasure could not have such a powerful defense, unless it was a top-grade spiritual treasure. However, top-grade spiritual treasures were extremely rare. Even supremacies might not have one. How could a late-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivator have such a treasure? Luo Lai was shocked and puzzled. He could not understand. Down below, Qi Tian, Mount Kirawud, and the others all had terrified expressions on their faces. As they looked at Lin Xian's silhouette, they revealed terrified expressions. This person was too powerful. He was definitely a peerless genius on par with Lolita. This was especially true for Qi Tian. He was filled with regret. He could not provoke such an outstanding person, even if he was from the city lord's mansion. One had to know that as long as such a genius did not die, he would definitely enter the supremacies and become a powerful expert. Therefore, the city lord's mansion would not provoke such a person. You dare to hurt my brother? No one can save you. Lin Xian wore the red lotus battle suit and looked like a fiery war god. His voice rang out in the air like countless sharp swords stabbing into everyone's hearts. Stop boasting. Defeat me first. Luo Lai coldly snorted. Although his opponent's defense was powerful, he would not be afraid. After all, he was the undefeatable king of the entire sand region. Other than those few geniuses, no one was his match. Golden light flickered on Luo Lai's body and condensed into a golden battle suit that covered his body. On the battle suit, there were layers of flames that flickered, making him look extraordinary. Brat, I'm tired of playing with you. Go to hell. Luo Lai raised his right hand and golden light flickered on his palm. A golden spear quickly condensed in the air. The light it emitted was even more dazzling than the sun. Radiant spear. That's Luo Lai's famous battle skill. Everyone exclaimed. Rumor has it that he once used this radiant spear to kill an extremely powerful elder. That's right. No one can escape from the spear of light. Chapter 626. The spear of light was unstoppable and could kill opponents stronger than itself. Luo Lai held the spear of light in his hand like a killing god. The terrifying aura caused everyone to tremble. Kid, you can die in peace now that you made me use this move. Luo Lai was very confident. This was the technique that made him famous and was also one of his strongest killing moves. Under this move, no one could block it. Lin Xuexuan's expression turned cold as he felt the powerful force coming from the other side. The red lotus battle armor on his body shone with a demonic light. Spiritual energy fluctuated in front of him and quickly condensed into a long sword that floated in the air. It was a blood-red longsword. The moment it appeared, the void was filled with blood-red killing intent. It was as if the entire space had turned into a hellish azura field. Sword of slaughter. Facing a strong opponent like Luo Lai, Lin Xian did not hold back. With his blood-red armor and blood-red long sword, Lin Xian was like an azura from hell, filled with killing intent. Below, everyone was shocked. They trembled and quickly retreated. The auras of the two were too shocking. It was not something they could withstand. Luo Lai floated in the air with the spear of light in his hand. He looked extraordinary, but his heart was filled with shock. The blood-red long sword was too tyrannical, causing him to feel a sense of fear. Moreover, the aura was not any weaker than his spear of light. Damn it! How could this kid have such a powerful martial technique? Luo Lai was furious. A martial artist at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm not only had a powerful defense, but also a shocking attack. This was hard for him to accept. If he did not get rid of this person, he was afraid that he would completely surpass him in a few years. He would not allow such a person to exist. Therefore, at this moment, it was not only for the agreement with Chi Tian. Luo Lai's killing intent sword. He was determined to get rid of Lin Xian. Die. The spear of light fell like a blazing sun in the air, shattering everything in its path. Large areas of houses collapsed, and half of the arena was destroyed and turned into dust. This attack was too powerful. It was like a meteor crashing into the ground. The terrifying power spread out in all directions. Everyone below screamed and fled the arena. Those martial artists who were too slow were swept by the blazing light and vomited blood in the air. Lin Xian snorted when he saw the spear of light rushing towards him. He gripped the sword of slaughter tightly and slowly slashed towards the left. This sword seemed to be very slow, but it contained shocking killing intent. The blood-red sword Qi struck down, and boundless killing intent spread out, surging out like waves. Everything in its path was annihilated. This was the sword of slaughter, which represented a powerful blood-red killing intent. At this moment, Lin Xian faced Luo Lai. His heart was filled with murderous intent as he unleashed the essence of this sword. More than half of the void was dyed red, and the entire arena was sent flying. Countless rocks fell from the sky. Pong! The blood-red sword Qi and the golden spear collided in the air, and then a dazzling light burst out. Balls of berserk energy quickly moved, forming an incomparably huge energy ball that enveloped the entire area. Everything that was touched by the energy ball was turned into ashes. The ground collapsed, and the surrounding houses quickly dissipated. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. It was terrifying. This scene caused a sensation throughout the entirety of Quicksand City. Countless cultivators looked over, horrified expressions on their faces. Suddenly, a colorful light lit up in the void, and a rectangular colorful light pillar quickly descended, covering the terrifying energy ball. At the same time, Luo Lai and Lin Xian were covered by it. This colorful energy pillar formed an enclosed battle space. A venerable has made his move. Everyone was terrified. The colorful aura not only represented a venerable, but also a symbol of status. This was the city lord's move. However, he did not stop the two from fighting. He only separated the two to prevent Quicksand City from being destroyed again. Everyone fled, hiding in a safe place to watch the battle. Within the colorful defensive space, the berserk energy was rampant. The entire space was gray and abnormally chaotic. At this moment, a shocking blood-red light, like a rainbow, pierced through the sky. Following it was a berserk blood-red killing intent, the sword of slaughter. In the berserk energy, it rose up once again, and with a killing intent, it slashed forward. The golden spear was sent flying, making a screeching sound in the void. At the same time, Luo Lai at the back groaned, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The spear of light was sent flying? How is this possible? The spectating martial artists were shocked. That's Luo Lai's famous martial skill, and it's a martial skill that can kill high-level martial artists. However, such a powerful martial skill was defeated by Lin Xian. What exactly is that blood-red sword? Even the spear of light was sent flying. This Lin Xian is too terrifying. We can't provoke him. After sending the spear of light flying, Lin Xian's fighting spirit sword. He held the sword of slaughter and quickly attacked. The blood-red sword Qi was everywhere, all slashing toward Luo Lai. At this moment, Lin Xian turned into a killing god, killing in all directions. Luo Lai could not bear the shocking blood-red killing intent and could only dodge quickly. However, Lin Xian was faster. With a slash, the terrifying sword Qi enveloped Luo Lai. "Open for me!" Luo Lai shouted angrily. The terrifying energy in his body surged, and his whole body seemed to have turned into metal. He could not escape, so he could only take it head-on. He punched out with both fists, which shone with a metallic luster. They were like powerful weapons as they blasted forward. Boom! An earth-shaking sound reverberated, and then Luo Lai was sent flying. His arms, which were like treasured weapons, were now dull and lifeless. They were filled with blood-red sword marks. Not only that, but there was also a ghastly sword wound on his chest that had almost cut him in half. His concept of metal had been broken. How can this be? I can't lose. Luolai was furious, but more than that, he was terrified. He had never been defeated since his debut, and he thought that he was not weaker than those peerless geniuses. This time, he came to Quicksand City to fight with those geniuses. However, he was now defeated by a martial artist in the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. He could not accept this. Impossible. I don't believe it. Luolai stopped his body from retreating and roared to the sky. Golden light shone around him like a golden sea. With a roar, a huge spiritual vortex formed above his head and quickly entered his body, repairing the wounds on his body. However, the blood-red killing intent was too strong, and he could not get rid of it immediately. He could only suppress it temporarily. I will not lose. Brat, I will kill you. Luolai roared like an injured beast. He no longer had the calmness from before. Now, he had no choice but to use his trump card. Otherwise, he would be defeated by Lin Xian today. I have to admit that you are strong. However, under my trump card, you have no chance of survival. Luolai regained his composure. His body was bleeding, but his expression was full of confidence. Chapter 627. Luolai became confident again. This time, he was going to use his strongest trump card. He had prepared this for challenging prodigies. He did not expect to use it here. However, he did not regret it. Lin Xian's combat power was indeed worthy of him using this move. This was originally prepared for Blackwood Cliff. I did not expect to use it on you. You should be honored to be the first witness. Luolai's voice was cold. Prepared for Blackwood Cliff? The surrounding warriors were shocked. Blackwood Cliff was a prodigy-level warrior from the Sand region. His strength was unfathomable and had long surpassed the limits of ordinary ultimate warriors. Other than a few other prodigies, no one else could suppress him. Now, Luolai's trump card was prepared to go against Blackwood Cliff. One could imagine how terrifying this trump card was. I'm afraid Lin Xian is finished. This was what many people were thinking. A trump card to go against prodigies? Lin Xian frowned. Looking at his opponent's confident look, it must not be simple. However, he was not afraid. He also had a trump card. More than one. Therefore, Lin Xian appeared quite calm. If you have a trump card, hurry up and use it. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. Lin Xian appeared very calm. This Lin Xian is really arrogant. He's still talking big. Humph, this will only speed up his death. Hey Muyue, and the rest sneered. Ignorant. Luolai snorted disdainfully. He believed that as long as he used his trump card, his opponent would be scared silly. A ball of golden flame appeared and pulsed in his palm. It was like a heart, beating nonstop. In the middle of the flame, there was a pure golden flame. It was unusually lively and was pulsing as if it was alive. This pulsing was accompanied by a hot and sharp aura that quickly spread in all directions. The aura was very shocking, causing the surrounding warriors to tremble. It was a trembling that came from the soul. In fact, the hearts of some weaker martial artists started to beat along with the flames. It was as if they could not control it. What kind of flame is this? It's too terrifying. It can actually affect a warrior's heartbeat. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian was also shocked. His whole body tensed up because he sensed a great danger coming from the golden flames in front of him. This feeling was very strong, and it made him feel like he was facing a venerable one. However, he quickly calmed down because he knew that the other party's cultivation was only at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm and not a venerable. Martial spirit. He actually managed to condense a trace of his martial soul. The surrounding martial artists cried out in alarm. What? That flame is actually a martial spirit. Everyone was astonished, because martial spirits were unique to venerables. The power of a martial soul was extremely strong, and it was definitely beyond what a spirit-detecting realm martial artist could endure. Who would have thought that Luolai would be able to condense a trace of his martial spirit? How terrifying! Everyone was incomparably shocked. If a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm wanted to enter the higher realm of the venerable realm, they had to first achieve perfection in their intent realm and comprehend and condense the embryonic form of their martial soul. Only then would they have the qualifications to enter the venerable realm. Therefore, the embryonic form of a martial soul was something that all martial artists yearned for. However, Luo Lai had actually condensed a trace of his martial soul. Although it was very small, it was indeed an embryonic form of a martial soul. Lin Xian was also shocked. He did not think that Luo Lai would be able to reach this step. He was indeed a top genius. That's not right. Didn't he comprehend the concept of gold? Why is the embryonic form of his martial soul aflame? Someone asked doubtfully. Actually, everyone was puzzled. Lin Xian also frowned, but his soul force was outstanding. He keenly noticed that there was a trace of pure gold light within the golden flame. It did not seem to be a flame, but a small knife. It's a knife. Lin Xian was shocked. He realized that the flame outside was not the embryonic form of a martial soul. Only the small pure gold knife in the center was Luo Lai's martial soul. Although it was small, the pressure it emitted covered everything. Kid, I have already comprehended a trace of the embryonic form of my martial soul. I am unrivaled in the same realm. Therefore, you can die now. Luo Lai's voice was cold as he looked down at Lin Xian. The embryonic form of a martial soul. He did not expect Luo Lai to have condensed the embryonic form of a martial soul. He Muyue laughed wildly. This was great. That kid surnamed Lin was dead for sure. Qi Tian also let out a sigh of relief. Lin Xian gave him too much pressure. Therefore, he was eager to kill Lin Xian. The current situation was just right for him to fulfill his wish. A trace of the embryonic form of a martial soul is indeed powerful. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He did not underestimate his opponent. However, he was not afraid at all. Not long ago, he had returned the dragon sword soul to its origin. Although he had not completely refined the dragon sword soul, if he fully activated it, its power would be enough to contend with Luo Lai. It might even be stronger. You are the strongest opponent I have encountered so far. Therefore, you are worthy of my full strength. Lin Xian's voice was steady. There was no trace of panic. Luo Lai smiled contemptuously. After releasing a trace of his martial soul, he did not put Lin Xian in his eyes at all. Luo Lai raised his right hand and held the golden flame in front of his chest. The golden knife in the middle of the flame was spinning rapidly, emitting a shocking power. With a push of his palm, the flame flew out quickly, carrying the golden knife. It was like a ray of golden light, quickly rushing towards Lin Xian. This attack, regardless of whether it was speed or power, surpassed all the previous attacks. It could be said that martial artists who had not condensed the embryonic form of a martial soul would not be able to withstand it. This was because this was a qualitative change. It was a change in the nature of the attack. It was not something that could be countered by numbers. Therefore, Luo Lai had such confidence. Looking at the flame rushing towards him, Lin Xian was extremely calm. At this moment, he had entered a very strange state. He fully activated the dragon sword soul in his body and quickly slashed out with the slaughter sword in his hand. The mini-true dragon in his body roared and emitted an unfathomable power. It merged with the slaughter sword in his hand and quickly slashed out. The blood-red sword aura surged and evolved into a red true dragon in the air, roaring towards the sky. At this moment, the true dragon sword aura was very lively, as if it had a soul. With a roar, the red true dragon sword aura quickly rushed towards the golden flame in front of him. This attack was full of spirituality. The moment it appeared, it caused a stir. This was because everyone felt the same aura from Lin Xian as Luo Lai. It was the aura of an embryonic form of a martial soul. Embryonic form of a martial soul? How is this possible? Luo Lai was also shocked. His eyes were filled with disbelief. It had to be known that the embryonic form of a martial soul could only be condensed when one's cultivation had reached the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. However, the youth in front of him was clearly at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. How could he have an embryonic form of a martial soul? Luolai was a little confused. He could not believe what was happening in front of him. The crowd below was even more shocked. They could not understand how Lin Xian could also have an embryonic form of a martial soul. He Muyue and Qi Tian were even more shocked. The two of them looked as if they had seen a ghost. They would probably never forget this scene for the rest of their lives. From now on, they would never dare to cause trouble for Lin Xian. It was not just the martial artists. Many of the venerables in Quicksand City were silently watching the battle. At this moment, when they saw Lin Xian use an attack similar to an embryonic form of a martial soul, they were greatly shocked. This was too abnormal. It completely violated the principle of an embryonic form of a martial soul. Chapter 628. Lin Xian's attack, which was similar to the embryonic form of a martial soul, had shocked everyone. Moreover, the power of that sword was even more shocking. In the void, the golden saber contained in the golden flames spun rapidly and shook the surroundings. It was as if thousands of soldiers and horses were trampling through the void. That aura was too violent. It was like a raging wave that quickly spread over. On the other side, Lin Xian's blood-red sword qi was even more terrifying. The roar was like a violent torrent that poured out in torrents. One was the embryonic form of a golden saber, formed by the sublimation of the concept of metal. The other was a true dragon sword qi that was filled with blood-red killing intent and the greater success of the sword intent. The two of them clashed. The void boiled and quickly split open. At the point of intersection, a chaotic fog was emitted. The golden saber flashed and swept in all directions. At the same time, a sea of blood filled the air. The roar of a true dragon was endless. Collision. An intense collision. That terrifying momentum was unforgettable for the surrounding martial artists. Fortunately, there were venerables to create a unique battle space. Otherwise, the two of them would have destroyed more than half of Quicksand City. This was just a trace of the embryonic form of a martial soul. If it was a real martial soul, a casual attack could destroy the entire Quicksand City. One had to know that Quicksand City was not an ordinary city. It was a huge city in the Sand Country. It covered thousands of miles and was very vast. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the power of a martial soul was. In the void, the two forces collided, creating a terrifying wave that wrapped around Luolai and Lin Xian. The surrounding people were nervous and watched closely. When the violent energy dissipated, the figures of the two were revealed. Luolai's body flew out as if he had been struck by lightning. The golden armor on his body was broken in many places. It was very miserable. Every time he took a step back, he would step into the void. It was as if a giant hammer was striking a drum, producing a violent sound. Moreover, the surrounding air was like a wave, quickly spreading out. Lin Xian was also sent flying. However, the red lotus battle suit on his body shone with a demonic light, forming the strongest defense. It seemed that he did not suffer much impact. Everyone was shocked. The scene in front of them showed that Lin Xian seemed to have the upper hand. This was too shocking. The young man in front of them was too powerful. He could actually suppress Luolai, who was known as the Invincible King. Just how strong was his strength? Could it be that he was already on par with those geniuses? This was what everyone was wondering. Luolai was too powerful. Among the younger generation of the Sand region, only a few geniuses could defeat Luolai. But now, Lin Quanxian was suppressing the little girl. Did this mean that his strength had reached the level of a prodigy? If that was really the case, then it was too terrifying. Most of these geniuses were around 30 years old, and their cultivations were all at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. That was why they were able to comprehend the embryonic form of a martial soul and stand above everyone else. As for Lin Xian, he was only 18 years old, and his cultivation base was at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. However, his battle prowess was not any weaker than a prodigy's. This had never happened in the history of the Sand region. Lin Xian steadied himself and rushed out once again. He was like a ray of resplendent sword light, instantly arriving in front of Luolai. The blood-red sword of slaughter stabbed out again. This time, he didn't use his martial soul embryonic form because using the great dragon sword soul had consumed a lot of his energy. Moreover, He could see that his opponent didn't have the possibility of using his martial soul embryonic form. Therefore, he only used the Sword of Slaughter and the Great Success Sword intent to the extreme. However, this was already very terrifying. It was far from what an ultimate warrior could withstand. You are the strongest opponent I have met so far. Thank you for allowing me to have a deeper understanding of my martial soul embryonic form. Now, let's end this. With a slash of the sword, Luo Lai was sent flying and crashed heavily into the ground. Suddenly, a human-shaped crater appeared on the ground. Countless shocking cracks spread out in all directions as if a huge earthquake had occurred. Luo Lai fell to the ground, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. There was a hint of madness in his expression, as well as frustration and disappointment. Defeated. He has been defeated. He had never been defeated since his debut and thought that he was a peerless prodigy. But now, he had been defeated. It wasn't because he was careless or made a mistake. He had truly been defeated. Fang's strength had already surpassed his. The power of his martial soul embryonic form was even stronger than his. Therefore, there was no need for him to continue fighting, nor was there a chance for him to continue. This was because at this moment, his body was filled with violent slaughter intent and sharp Great Success Sword intent. This caused his injuries to worsen. He couldn't even use half of his combat strength. Roaring to the sky, Luo Lai quickly swallowed a few pills. Then, he endured the pain all over his body and quickly fled. Everyone was shocked and stood rooted to the ground. Luo Lai, known as the undefeated king of Sand Region, had been defeated and left like a stray dog. A legend had fallen in front of them, and another legend had quickly risen. Lin Xian had defeated the undefeated king. The powerful strength he displayed shocked everyone. Some observant people noticed that ever since Lin Xian appeared in Quicksand City, he had won every battle. They didn't know if this was the rise of another undefeated king. However, they knew that Lin Xian's strength was definitely comparable to a prodigy's. Such a person was still above everyone else. Whoosh! The colorful light screen disappeared. It was obvious that the city lord had removed the energy. However, with his powerful soul perception, Lin Xian knew that the surrounding sovereign's consciousness were still there. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian looked down. Today's matter had to be settled. Sensing Lin Xian's gaze, Yamajima and Qi Tian trembled and almost wet themselves. Lin Xian was too powerful. Even Luo Lai was no match for him, let alone the two of them. You, what do you want? Yamajima asked with a trembling voice. You brought people to cause trouble and even try to kill me. Now that I've beaten them away, do you think this is the end? What a joke. Lin Xian snorted. How could he show mercy when others wanted to kill him? However, the situation was very special. The sovereigns were watching, so he couldn't go too far. At the very least, he couldn't offend everyone. Lin Xian looked at Qi Tian and said, For the sake of the city lord, I'll let you go today. I hope you won't participate in this kind of thing in the future. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Qi Tian quickly nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. He was greatly relieved, knowing that this time it was fine. Moreover, even without Lin Xian's reminder, he wouldn't dare to participate in this kind of thing in the future. As for you, Lin Xian looked at Yamajima and the others again. Just because I didn't want to join your Blackwood Castle's arena, you and Yamajima tried to get rid of me? Your Blackwood family is truly shameless. For the sake of your sovereigns, I won't kill you today. However, I'll cut off one of your arms as a lesson. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.